Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture. It's about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
F around and find out.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
They want you to comply.
Well, and then there was one. It looks like you're stuck with me again, my friends. But I do have some people that I've brought with me tonight. I will not be alone. I think I'm probably going to be the only main host, depending on if Ariana and David jump on later. But still, got a great show for you planned. So in the first half, we're going to talk to VMann, who is a viewer of Leftist Mafia. Every week, he sprinkles in some little tidbits of information about Puerto Rico, really interesting facts and statistics. So I have VMann here, who's going to talk about Puerto Rico. And then we're going to pivot to Kowalski, who is going to talk about the aggro crisis that we are currently experiencing because of Donald Trump's dumbass war with Iran. And then if we have time, depending on how long those segments go, we also are going to talk about the big boogeyman, which is Hassan Piker. In particular, the media response to him. I already did a video about Hassan this week, but obviously the media is not done with him. I want to look at Dana Bash because she is one of the individuals that condemned Hassan, but somebody on Twitter dug up an old interview that she did with Netanyahu, where she says the same thing that Hassan said, that she condemned him for. So lots of stuff today to get to, but let's not bury the lead. Let's bring in our first guest, VMann, to talk about Puerto Rico. VMann, welcome to the show.
Oh, what's up? Thank you. So, yeah, VMann. I'm
happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm a member of, as you can see in the thing there, JUPI, which stands for Juventud Unida por la Independencia. I'm a member of the Bronx chapter. Now, JUPI is a youth-based and student activist group dedicated to a free and sovereign Puerto Rico from a socialist perspective. And also, my sister will kill me if I don't say this. We also have our affiliate groups that we also coordinate and collaborate with. Aldolfina, which is advancing the Puerto Rican anti-imperialist women's movement for sovereignty, democracy, and liberation for all gender-oppressed people, which is a big thing because Puerto Rico has long-standing having problems with, obviously, attacks on the transgender community. Obviously, I don't know if you know, the recent Governor Jennifer Gonzalez, or as I call her, Chris Farley in a wig, you'll see in a minute, that
she's in the thumbnail too, by the way, for those who don't know. So yeah, she's the MAGA governor you've told us about before.
Yeah. And she actually passed a law banning the strictest trans care ban in anywhere in the United States.
That's really sad to hear. So VMann, thank you so much for coming on in the flesh. We hear from you every single week. It's nice to actually see your face. I think that as you probably assumed, a lot of Americans know next to nothing about Puerto Rico, despite the fact that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. But you have
actually owned, not a part of.
Right. This is colonialism, quintessentially.
The insular cases. Actually, over the first case overseen by the same Supreme Court that ruled in favor of segregation in Plessy v. Ferguson, created the distinction of the unincorporated territory, owned but not a part of the United States, or and they like to call it domestic. No, what is it? It was domestic in a foreign sense.
Interesting. So yeah, you are basically an entire library of information. You're an encyclopedia, and it's so nice to have you here to talk about Puerto Rican politics. I know currently Puerto Rico is experiencing a water crisis, and I'm not sure if you wanted to start there or just kind of give us the rundown on your perspective as a leftist Puerto Rican.
Well, first off, to understand Puerto Rico, you have to have a bit of the historical background because the history of Puerto Rico under U.S. control has heavily shaped politics. So obviously, 1898, the United States comes in, invades. At the time, Puerto Rico was transitioning to autonomous self-governance under the Spanish crown. It already had representation in the Spanish parliament, but what this charter did is it gave Puerto Ricans control of their local government. It gave them a parliament. It gave them protection from Spanish overreach. Spain's parliament could neither strip nor amend local laws, and also gave them economic autonomy, the ability to set tariffs, negotiate trade with sovereign states as long as it didn't impede Spain's interests. And of course, like I said, it also gave them the ability to renegotiate the deal at any time they saw fit. Puerto Ricans also had their own currency at the time, the Puerto Rican peso. And so the United States comes in, tears this all apart. They devalue the Puerto Rican peso, throwing people into poverty. They steal the land through predatory loans because the farmers cannot pay this back. So the land is stolen from them, and it's turned into massive sugar plantations where these farmers who were landowners are now working on the land that they once owned for slave wages. And it's all done by the first governor who would later go on to found Domino's Sugar. So think about that when you stir your coffee every morning.
Yeah.
So to no one's surprise, the first major dominant political party in Puerto Rico was no fan of this. They were called the Union Party of Puerto Rico. The two big parties were the Union Party and the Republican Statehood Party. So the Union Party had two factions. You had a moderate autonomous wing led by Luis Muñoz Rivera and a hardline nationalist wing led by Jose de Diego. And they basically did not like the current setup because all they had was the House of... So when the U.S. finally set up a civil government, you had the governor, the executive council, and then you had the House of Delegates, which was the only one the Puerto Ricans could elect. And so the Union Party did not like this setup. They wanted more control. They wanted Puerto Rico's affairs to be controlled by Puerto Ricans for Puerto Rican interests. And so they ruffled the feathers of Washington at every turn they could get. Eventually, Washington got fed up with this. So they devised a plan to fracture the Union Party. So what they did is they created the Jones-Shafroth Act to give Puerto Rican citizenship. But tied in that deal was they were going to establish a Senate that Puerto Ricans could elect, basically to cause a fracture within the two factions, the Unionists and the moderates and the nationalists.
Okay.
So initially, when this was done, both sides were deeply against it. Both factions were against it. So they opposed it. They voted unanimously against citizenship. And obviously, Woodrow Wilson said, "I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway." And eventually, over time, then the moderates accepted it, and it caused the desired effect. Within 1922, the nationalists walked away and formed the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party, symbol right here. In the next election, the Union Party wasn't strong enough to win, so they formed an alliance with the Republicans, which forced them to strip their most hardline anti-colonial positions from their agenda, creating the desired effect.
And it just took time. That's really interesting to me. So originally, when citizenship was offered to them, they didn't like it, but it was... So I'm curious, what do you think led to the co-optation, essentially? Was it propaganda? Was it just, they were worn down? What made them kind of acquiesce, in your opinion?
I think it was just that, the autonomists just wanted more self-control. And I think they just, over time, just gradually just accepted that they had to work within the frameworks. of the United States.
So it's a matter of power, basically, where
Yeah.
it's this or nothing. Okay, I see. So it's basically a pragmatic.
Yeah, no, and so then you had new party. Also, at the same time, you had the rising original Socialist Party of Puerto Rico, which was ironically pro-statehood. We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh,
So-
interesting.
Yeah, so no, and there they will show you why you can't be left-wing and pro-statehood in Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
that we'll just flash forward to the 1930s, and we're going to get to Pedro Albizu Campos. So he was Afro-Puerto Rican, Harvard graduate. They actually denied his valedictorian, spoke 6 languages, denied the valedictorian speech because, God forbid, an Afro-Puerto Rican give that speech in 1922. He also met with Irish Republicans during the Irish War of Independence, consulted on the drafting of the Irish Constitution. So this guy was, big in Puerto Rico. And the U.S. offered him, when he graduated, all these big fancy jobs, turned it down to go back to his hometown of Ponce and practice law on behalf of the poor. He actually was paid in chickens, clothes, whatever they could spare. So he works his way through the Nationalist Party, and by the 1930s, he becomes president. And you have the Great Depression. So at this time, the main parties were the Liberals, the Socialists, the Republicans, and the Nationalists. And so in the 1932 election, for some reason, God knows why, the Socialists decided to form a coalition government with the Republicans. Yeah, I know. It's giving you it's making your brain explode. That
Yeah, that's very okay. Okay, interesting.
So the logic was they thought that achieving statehood would do more to advance the cause of labor than actually working to advance the cause of labor.
Oh, I should point out, by the way, in this period, this was before party realignment. So the Republicans were essentially more liberal, like today's Democratic Party.
Yeah, no, but they were still corporate. They were still like
Right.
They were still very big on corporations and everything. So
right, pre-FDR Democratic Party, essentially. Think of it that way for those. Okay.
So what happened? So like I said, so 1934 comes along, and you have the cane, and so like I said, cane workers were making, and this is 45 cents a day per 12-hour shifts. Yeah. So they were fed up with it. So they go to their unions, which are part of the pro-statehood Socialist Party, ask them, can you do anything about it? They come back to them and say, the best thing we can do is 90 cents. And they were not having any of it. So the problem was with this coalition was the Socialists are the junior partner. So basically they had to water everything down to appease the conservatives.
Right.
So what happened was, so the workers get fed up. And they go to the Nationalists and ask Pedro to represent them for the strike. He agrees. He organizes the workers into a strike. Meanwhile, he's telling them, you can't work with these socialists. The problem, because this is the problem of being left-wing and pro-statehood. To be left-wing is to challenge the established power. But the problem is to ask for statehood is to ask for a seat at the table from that very established power.
Mm-hmm.
So you're left with a dilemma. Do you stand by your values and reject the establishment? Or do you water your core beliefs down to try to get a seat at the table? The problem is, either way, it's a lose-lose situation. And that's what happened to the socialists. So Campos leads the strike. He gets them $1.50 a day. He becomes a hero, and this rattles the U.S. to the point where FDR appoints a guy by the name of Blanton Winship as governor. So this guy was a military general. He militarizes the police. And so one day at a student rally at the University of Puerto Rico, 3 members of the Nationalist Party just quietly sitting in their car. The cops come up to them, just start talking. Next thing you know, gunshots ring out. Another member of the party walks in to check what's happening. He gets killed. Eyewitnesses testify that the officer said, "Let none leave alive." But Winship clears them, gets them off scot-free. And so that's what's known as the Rio Piedras massacre. And from that point on, the Nationalists snap. They say, we can't work through this. We have to take them head on. The next year, they assassinate the chief of police, Francis Riggs, who actually said this, and this is true. If the nationalists do not stop their agitations, there will be war to the death of all Puerto Ricans.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he said that. So, like I said, what happens is there's a clash back and forth. Campos is eventually arrested. They try to try him on sedition. They have next to no evidence. Their evidence is pictures of nationalist party members doing military drills with wooden cutouts of rifles and a handful of pistols and shotguns. The first trial is a hung jury. And then, of course, they decide, screw the Sixth Amendment. They do a retrial with a stacked jury. He gets thrown in prison. The next year, the Nationalist Party organizes a march on Palm Sunday to commemorate. It was also commemorating the end of slavery in Puerto Rico. Now, they don't need a permit, but they go out of the way to get a permit. And Winship blocks the march, revokes the permit. They decide to march anyway. And the police swarm the march and open fire. 200 are wounded, 19 are dead. One of the members of the Cadets of the Republic, a young man by the name of Bolivar Marquez de Lequia, mortally wounded, drags his body to a wall, sticks his finger into his wound, and writes the message, Viva la República, abajo los asesinos, with 3 crosses. Long live the Republic, down with the assassins. And this basically spells the end for Winship. He's shortly after FDR can't take the damage anymore and gives him the boot, but he gets away with basically orchestrating one of the worst colonial crimes in Puerto Rican history.
Wow. And so I want to kind of bring it to modern day times and ask you about the long history of colonialism, because there's a number of issues that plague Puerto Rico specifically because of the colonial relationship between Puerto Rico and the United States. And can you just kind of talk through some of those issues?
Well, the biggest problem with colonialism is that Puerto Rico was built to have a colonial economy. The goal of a colonial economy is not to bring wealth to the colony, it's to extract out of it. This is why, to this day, Puerto Rico has the largest GNP to GDP gap on planet Earth. I think it's 33% of GDP, 33%. That is, the only other places that match it are Equatorial Guinea and Iraq.
Wow.
Like I said, so the problem with, this is why Puerto Rico is so poor, is we don't get enough, Puerto Rico does not get enough money to reinvest into its people. You know, the other problem is food. We don't grow our own, Puerto Rico is a land that's rich with agricultural history. I mean, my grandfather on my grandfather's family is descended from what they call the Jibaro, the traditional rural farmer, self-sustenance farmer. So that's my grandfather told me, but dementia brain, so we'll take that with a grain of salt. But the Jibaros were the traditional self-sustenance farmers of Puerto Rico. And they were, like I said, that was agricultural life was such a focal point. But in the 1940s, they have what's known as Operation Bootstrap, which is actually how my family came to the United States. The goal was to convert from an agricultural economy to an industrial economy. But this came at the expense of the fact that the destruction of the agricultural sector. Not only that, but there were never going to be enough industry jobs to fill the labor pool. So to give the appearance of driving unemployment down, they encouraged mass migration. That's what happened to my great grandfather, my grandmother's side. He was a cigar roller. So as industrialization came in, and they didn't have he had to move out to provide for his family, and they flew into the United States on a ramshackled C-47 with literally beach chairs bolted to the floor. I should have put a picture of that in there, but that you can look up the picture of that, and it is like the conditions that they flew in to get here.
Wow. So the way that it is I always think of it as like a parasitic relationship where you have this occupational entity just kind of like sucking the life and the resources out of the territory that they're occupying. And one thing that's become more of a mainstream story regarding Puerto Rico in the last couple of years is the way that Americans are going to Puerto Rico so that way they can essentially pay less taxes. The Logan Pauls, the
Brock Pierce, those types. Yeah,
all those individuals. And part of it is the political environment in Puerto Rico. In some ways it's different, but in a lot of ways it's also very similar to the United States. And the way that you explain it is, there's fascism there, and they're kind of doing the Republican types of policies that are pro-business to attract this, which kind of like exacerbates the colonialism, the resources. And I'm just curious. So there's an argument that like one way to stop all of this from happening, or at least mitigate it, is statehood. What is the argument against statehood? Because I don't think that Americans really view this as like a left-right issue or a colonial versus anti-colonial issue. Like, talk through why there is this movement against statehood in particular, and why any of the benefits might not necessarily be worthwhile in your opinion.
Well, for the starters, is statehood doesn't solve the core issues. The dependency, the problem with it, and I'm going to use East Germany as an example. Yeah, obviously, German reunification was the Cold War. It was fueled primarily by the emotions of healing divided bridges, not by comprehensive planning. And that's why, to this very day, the eastern half of Germany still economically lags behind the West, no matter how much money Berlin pumps into it. Mm-hmm. See, the problem is with the statehood movement is they treat the status change alone as a magic cure-all, as if it's going to solve all your problems. Like, they are one step removed from saying the only reason you can't get a girlfriend is because we're not a state. That is how ridiculous they sell it. But the problem is statehood doesn't change the corrupt political class. Statehood doesn't fix the infrastructure. Statehood doesn't fix the economy. I mean, statehood, like I said, all it does is pump money into a broken system. And that doesn't do anything. Like, how many states are there in the Union that are, have all the same problems that Puerto Rico has? Mm-hmm. Flint has Michigan has water problems. Texas has a busted grid. I mean, Florida.
Indiana just had no power for 2 weeks, and nobody really talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, the thing is, like, the only thing that changes anything is a comprehensive plan, is a competent local government with a clear-cut, comprehensive plan. The problem is, after 128 years, the statehood movement has never even considered to put one together. Actually, in that the link I have you, the thread I gave you, actually the top statehood lobby group. I don't know if you can scroll down and see if you can find it. It says PR 51st. Let's see. It is. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's the PR fourth 51st. One down. Yeah, it's right there. Click on. No, you just passed it. You just. Like here, you can read. Just click on it. It's right. No, just
up.
Yeah, up. One more, and there it is. Okay. See, click on. Yeah, click on that one. You can just read it. No, that one.
Next one over.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm zoomed in a little bit.
Yeah. You can just read it. Yeah, economic roadmap. You can just read it right there.
No economic roadmap, no legal framework for adapting Puerto Rico's laws to federal systems, no plan for federal representation or political integration, no explanation for how to resolve the language barrier or economic disparities.
And this is the PR 51st responding to a Reddit post I made. So this is them attacking me.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you can read it right here. We have seen some practical economic development proposals for Puerto Rico, but such plans will necessarily depend on the leadership at the time of statehood. Essentially saying, we haven't had the time to really figure it out, but we swear we'll figure it out eventually.
Interesting.
And then you can see...
I've heard of PR 51st before.
They're a right-wing think tank. They're like a lobby group. But like I said, their entire thing is DC lobbying. The statehood movement has no real grassroots organization. Like I actually dug up on their website and trying to find like a community event they did. And the only thing I could find was an event in Tallahassee during COVID.
Oh, interesting.
Like, and we're not even talking like Miami, Orlando, where Puerto Ricans actually live. Tallahassee. Like, there's like, if anybody knows, that's not where the Puerto Ricans live.
So, VMann, I'm curious about, because I hear from a lot of um anti-statehood voices and whatnot, but I know that I'm probably in more of a left-leaning bubble. What would you say is the breakdown in Puerto Rico? Do you think that there's more support for statehood or less support? Like, can you talk about like the political dynamic with regard to that? Because that's one thing that I'm not sure about.
Okay, so I'll say this: statehood is the single largest bloc in Puerto Rico. But they do not account the majority because it's not statehood, independence, autonomy. They're actually because there are three internationally recognized non-territorial options. You obviously have integration, which the UN recognizes. You have independence, but you also have the sovereign free association model, which is basically if you're familiar with the Pacific microstates.
Okay.
So basically, where you become a sovereign nation, but you enter into a treaty with a larger nation. That basically it's for ease of travel, minor financial assistance, and the larger nation oversees your defense purposes.
Okay, so a little bit like the EU type situation where
Something
there's
like
mutual
that.
benefits. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the other three camps combined outnumber the statehood camp, the autonomous, sovereignist, and the independent and the sovereignty movements, which I'm going to include independence and free association here, is really great growing traction among young Puerto Ricans for obvious reasons. Number one is you have the Cold War era level repression against the independence movement is not there anymore. I mean, not that it still doesn't exist, but you can openly discuss independence in public and not fear the FBI, the Puerto Rican police watching you behind your back. You know, you're not going to get if you don't know carpeta, which is the files that they would track on independent supporters. Number two is the economy has collapsed since 2006. So 1996, Bill Clinton repeals Section 936 of the tax code, which was a tax incentive designed to attract industry to Puerto Rico. But he did so with a 10-year phase out to basically allow the Puerto Rican government time to restructure the economy. But the problem is to restructure the economy would ultimately mean reducing dependency. And if you're the two main parties, pro-Commonwealth, pro-statehood, reducing dependency destroys the narrative for you maintaining your relationship with the United States. So they kicked the can down the road. So the statehood party ignored it. The Commonwealth Party basically begged Washington to try to reinstate it. And so when 2006 came, Puerto Rico lost 40% of its manufacturing jobs. Like that.
Wow.
And here's another kicker. Everybody's least favorite historically racist senator, Strom Thurmond, decided in the 1980s to strip Puerto Rico of the right to file Chapter 9 bankruptcy.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's on brand for Strom Thurmond.
Yeah, it's not necessarily surprising for him. It's just a very fucked up move, even even for a racist piece of shit.
All right, so now I think it's about time I should break down the parties. So you have the three. We'll talk about the main three. You have
now. This is the current parties, right, that are popular.
Yeah, the three parties, the main three that have been around since the 1970s, since at least 1968. So you have the oldest party, Partido Popular Democrático, the Popular Democratic Party. This is a New Deal. It started out founded by Luis Muñoz Marin, son of Luis Muñoz Rivera. So basically, he was fed up with the established political party at the time. So actually, I think it's the one next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, the Partido Popular Democrático, which at the time he was frustrated. Luis Muñoz Marin was frustrated with the parties being so fixated on status politics and not on the current socioeconomic issues. So he breaks away from the established Liberal Party to form. It was started out status neutral, and they ran their first campaign on the status is not the issue, and that's their slogan, which they swear they did not steal from the Puerto Rican Communist Party, Pan, Tierra y Libertad, bread, land, freedom, which they did. We all know it, so just admit it. And then so they oversaw what's known as the golden age of the Commonwealth, which was the largest rise in socioeconomic living standards. So under Marin as governor, basically Puerto Rico went from an agricultural base to industrial base. They expanded electricity, water access. They took Puerto Ricans from living in wooden shacks with rusted tin roofs to concrete houses in suburbia. They ended mandatory English instruction in schools, which is something my grandparents went through. Like my grandmother would have been beaten up in school for speaking Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah. So they did that. They established.
That's just so fucked up. Like this outside entity comes over and they start to dictate what language you could speak. They start to take control. It's just, I mean, it's every colonial story, but it's just really fucked up.
The reason why you say why Americans say Puerto Rico instead of the proper pronunciation Puerto Rico is because they actually changed the spelling to be with 2 O's because they just were too lazy to pronounce it. And then it finally got changed back in the 1930s. So
I see.
So they established that. They established the Institute of Culture to preserve Puerto Rican culture. My favorite thing they did, and this is probably your favorite thing, they established the Arbona system, a regionalized universal healthcare system based off the NHS to ensure healthcare was a human right. That was their biggest accomplishment.
That's amazing.
They also mandated that they also nationalized the telephone companies, and they did this between 1948 and 1976.
They sound very based.
Well, yeah, they were, but at the same time, they also did a lot of horrible things. They instituted, under pressure from the United States, Ley de la Mordanza, gag law, which banned all pro-independence sentiment. In 1944, Marin said you could no longer be a populare and support independence. This is likely because J. Edgar Hoover may have been blackmailing him with evidence that he was an opium addict as a teenager in New York City, but that's just a rumor. I won't say whether. So when that happens, we have the birth of our second party here, the Partido Independentista Puertorriqueño, the PIP, which actually have their flag right here. This is a social democratic socialist party dedicated to a free Puerto Rico. They break away. They're founded by a man by the name of Don Gilberto Concepcion de Gracia, a human rights lawyer. So their biggest success at this point was 1952, after the Commonwealth was established and the nationalists had a revolt in the 1950s. In 1950, actually began in my grandpa's hometown of Peñuelas. But so they had that revolt, and they managed to get 19% of the vote and become, for the only time in their history, the opposition party. There, like I said, I also want to clarify this. The Popular Democratic Party by the 90s was infected by the disease of third way politics. So these days, they're mostly
okay.
So, and I also want to clarify this. There are no Democrat Republican parties in Puerto Rico. There are Democrat and Republican chapters. They merely operate the primaries. Now, it is optional for the individual politician to affiliate with one of the mainland parties if they so desire. Most PPD voters identify as Democrats, but they're like your Chuck Schumer type Democrats. You know,
goody.
Yeah, they're centrist. You know, they're
they
not.
Sound lovely.
Yeah, no, they're not. And then the PNP is like 60, 70. It's like between like 70% Republican, 30% Democrats, and they're like your third way types, and they're like, yeah. It was,
and so this explains probably the drop in popularity. Same thing we're kind of seeing in the United States mainland, where you see both major parties really take a nosedive.
Yeah, the thing is, Puerto Rico's constitution was actually built with political pluralism in mind. It's actually a mixed voting system of first past the post and semi-proportional voting. So I don't remember how many seats there are in the legislative, but both the House and the Senate have 11 at-large seats. And these at-large seats are decided by a single non-transferable vote. It's an island-wide vote. So it's semi-proportional representation, designed to allow minority parties a chance because, you know, if your support is distributed island wide, you may not win a district seat, but you could win an at-large seat.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Interesting. That's a very complicated system. I like STV. I believe Australia has STV. It's just, think of it, for viewers who aren't sure, think of it as like ranked choice voting asterisks. It's like much more complicated.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, this, and so they also have minority party rules. So if one party secures 2/3 a supermajority, but they don't get a supermajority of the vote, extra seats are rewarded to the minority parties based. I don't remember the mathematic calculations based on how much vote, based on your vote share. There's also public financing based on the condition that you're a registered party and you received at least, I think it's 3% of the vote in the last election. So,
Okay.
and so let's get to the last party. Well, Partido Nuevo Progresista, the PNP, was founded by a guy named Luis A. Ferrer, and this was during the 1967 status referendum, where there was a fracture in the then Republican statehood party of, do we boycott the referendum? Do we go ahead? You had the older establishment wing saying, this is controlled by the Popular Democratic Party. They're going to rig it for the Commonwealth. It's non-binding. Why are we wasting our time? This is a waste of taxpayer dollars. And you had Ferrer's wing, which said, let's go ahead. Let's just try it. Let's do this. And so what happened was, Ferrer, the party basically split. Ferrer took the most popular members, the best members of the party, and he forms the Partido Nuevo Progresista. Ironically, the logo he uses, a palm tree, was less than a decade earlier used by Dominican dictator Rafael Trujillo. No coincidence. Just thought I'd mention that. So normally they would have lost the 1968 election, but at the time, Marin, the former governor of Puerto Rico, was getting into a fight with his successor, Roberto Sanchez Villela. Now, Sanchez was not a typical politician. He was a civil engineer. So he looked at government through that lens, and he wanted to make government the most efficient it could possibly be for the everyday Puerto Rican. So he butted heads with the older established wing of the party because he had the audacity of saying, maybe we should award positions to the most qualified members. Let's bring in young, qualified people to run these government positions instead of just giving it out to political cronies.
How dare he?
How dare he? And so
in America, we don't support meritocracy.
No. So of course they couldn't get him for that. So when he had a nasty divorce, that was the cover story. And so they kicked him out. They kicked him out the party. He forms the People's Party, and this basically allowed Ferrer to win the 1968 election. And of course, being a businessman, he maliciously abused government because he happened to own the island's largest cement company. And guess what one of his acts was as governor? He pushed through massive public works projects to expand the Puerto Rican highways. And guess which cement company got the contracts?
Not his. There's no way. He wouldn't be that brazen, would he, VMann?
Oh, no. It all went to his company, Ponce Cement.
Shucks, I would have never guessed.
So it goes, so after that, it goes, you can see from 1976 onwards, a back and forth between the two parties.
Y-axis is membership, by the way, party membership. Somebody was asking about this graph. That's the drop-in membership.
No, this is the drop. It's voter totals. It's voter totals.
Oh, voter totals.
So yeah, you could just see. The PIP was tiny because the FBI was like, oh hell no, we're not allowing a democratic socialist party to exist. Oh no, yeah.
Right.
So
real quick, VMann, I want to pivot. I wanted to get your take on the water crisis in Puerto Rico. But before we do that, I actually want to bring in Kowalski because Kowalski is actually going to talk about agriculture in the crisis that we are all experiencing thanks to Trump's dumbass Iran war. But I think he would be good to bring in for the water portion. Let me just, Kowalski, welcome to the show, sir.
What's up?
Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. VMann Kowalski, Kowalski VMann. You all know each other. Don't think you've officially met.
Nice to meet you, VMann.
Nice to meet you.
I'm learning a lot on Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's pretty messed up, isn't it?
We all, VMann, we all
little
know
bit.
what we know about Puerto Rico through you. So if you're wrong, then that's your fault. The world rests on your shoulders, sir.
No, I didn't even get to the part. I didn't even get to the part where they tortured Campos until he couldn't speak with radiation, and his family was shielded by Fidel Castro.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, not kidding. Yeah, no,
it's just a history of very gross, fucked up colonialism and suppression of human rights. And yeah, it's the things that you are explaining are really disturbing, but at the same time not surprising for the United States empire. But so with regard to the water crisis, I know that Ariana brought it up a couple of weeks ago, how basically there's a massive shortage right now with water. You are not able to take long showers, if any. And this is kind of regional specific from my understanding, right? And it's affecting more disadvantaged people. Just talk us through the water crisis. I don't think a lot of Americans have any idea that this is going on.
Yeah, no. So I see how people get this. First, I want to clarify: it's not AI related. There are data centers in Puerto Rico, but they are telecom data centers. They are not AI data centers. So I see a lot of people saying that they're completely different. So the real thing here is it's decades of deferred maintenance on infrastructure. What's happened was, as obviously I mentioned with the attempt of Roberto Sanchez to institute meritocracy. Of course, once he got kicked out, political patronage and cronyism became commonplace. And so a lot of these government services and utilities got loaded with political cronies, and then also decades of underfunding. So, and one of those was, of course, PRASA, the Puerto Rico Aqueduct and Sewer Authority. So years of underfunding, years of poor maintenance. And in the 1990s, like when, right as the 936 was repealed, the then governor, Pedro Pierluisi, Pedro Rosello. So mind you, this guy also destroyed the island's universal healthcare system. He completely private. Basically began this mass public works project to cover up for the fact that the economy was going to go down the toilet. So the projects were Tren Urbano, a metro system for San Juan, which he did zero urban planning on, no rezoning laws, no rezoning so that they could make it the most efficient route that people would actually use. So nobody rides the damn thing, and the government has to subsidize it to keep it running, because what the hell is urban planning? And then the other thing was the super aqueduct, which was supposed to, this is going to solve all of Puerto Rico's water problems. Of course, they didn't act, of course, and it was good idea, terrible execution. The project's designer actually did an interview a few years back where he acknowledged they didn't listen to him. Like, they often ignored his input. I remember originally it called for solid metal piping, and they tried to cut corners with fiberglass, and when they turned the damn thing on, it burst. It's like decades of deferred maintenance. And what you're seeing in Puerto Rico is the fact that this is the problem. Not only that, so the reservoirs haven't been dredged in years. For example, one of the reservoirs, Dos Bocas, which supplies water to 13 different municipalities, has not been dredged since it was built in 1942. Then you have, like I said, 65%
there's no sediment buildup after hurricanes or anything where there's torrential flooding and
there hasn't been a big hurricane that has hit Puerto Rico in quite some time, right? That hasn't been an issue. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
So of course that, and like I said, PRASA was also underfunded. It's been stacked with political cronies who are not qualified. And like I said, 65% of treated water is lost in transit. I can tell you, when I went to go visit my cousin's house, in Caguas, I went to visit him. I went to go to the bathroom, turned the faucet on to a max. Like, the most you get was like a little, like that. The stream was thinner than my pinky. And that's a good day. That's a good day for them.
How long has the crisis really gotten to this point? I know it's been an ongoing issue, but like, it's really starting to come into effect. Like, it's worse than ever, seemingly.
Well, the problem has been, most of the gaps are covered up because it's in Puerto Rico. It's always raining. Well, in the north of Puerto Rico, the south has a rain shadow because of the central mountain range, but it's always raining. So there's always sufficient water to fill the reservoir, so it covers up a lot of the gaps. Because you have the El Nino, this drought, it's exposed the problems. And one of the things we recently had this where the head of PRASA actually stepped down, resigned, because him and his board were not consulted when Governor Jennifer Gonzalez decided to institute a 48-hour water rationing. I mean, think about that. You're appointed to oversee water and waste management, and the governor doesn't even consult you when she decides to just start water ration. Like, what do you do? That, like, what is my job at that point? Like, you put me in charge of this, I'm put in charge of this, and you're doing my job. Then what am I doing here? He resigned.
Well, so this governor, I want you to give people a little bit of a snapshot of who we're dealing with here. This is a MAGA governor. You said
no, she was co-chair of Latinos for Trump.
Right, and so she's like deep in the MAGA cult.
If you actually pull up my blue sky photo, you can actually see her. She was behind Donald Trump the day of his infamous paper towel toss.
She was there for that.
Yeah. Go down, scroll down a little more. Let's see. Just keep going. Just go down there more. Let's see. Yeah, she's also a Zionist. So
met with Netanyahu. Why am I not surprised by any of this?
Okay, there's Chris Farley in a wig. She looks like Chris Farley in a wig. Did I not put it in here?
Oh wow.
Scroll down. Those are the two groups. Scroll. I don't know. I could have sworn I put it in.
It might not be in here, but I believe you. I felt like that was the most.
Feels true.
Yeah, the toilet paper thing was like the most insulting, degrading shit I've ever seen. And the fact that she was there and she's still a MAGA supporter really shows like.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can just pull it up.
Okay.
I'll pull up and just put it in there.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me see there. I know I had it a second. I could have sworn I put it in there. I could have sworn, but there it is. Found it.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, let me just put it at the bottom.
All right, I'm gonna refresh. Was she like clapping? I'm so curious to see her reaction to that because I feel like anything other than "fuck you," even if she's a MAGA Republican, is like not acceptable.
There it is. Like you see.
Oh, okay.
Just zoom in. You can just see her right there.
Her right there, smiling. Is that her?
Yeah, smiling.
Oh my god.
And they said, well, the thing is, to be a pro-statehood Puerto Rican is to politically castrate yourself. You have to be subservient to the United States. In fact, during the Hurricane Maria thing, both the pro-statehood governor and the pro-statehood resident Jennifer Gonzalez, the pro-statehood resident commissioner, were both like bootlicking Donald Trump, praising him. And you know the only person who was to actually call out Trump for his horrible job? It was the mayor of San Juan, Carmen
Yulín Cruz. Yes, love her.
You know what? She is a supporter of sovereignty and free association. See, the thing is, the only way you can truly challenge the United States, this is why this goes back to the whole thing, is like only when you are independent or sovereigntist are you really capable of challenging the United States, calling them out for their bullshit. That's the thing in Puerto Rican politics.
So I'm pulling up this. This is the global drought map that Kowalski sent me.
I was just about to recommend that. If you actually like zoom in over the Caribbean, and just keep in mind, folks, when you're looking at this, it's not just Puerto Rico that's suffering from a dry spell. It is literally the entire. You should be able to zoom in on that.
The entire war.
It's the entire Caribbean.
Oh,
and it's also Venezuela. And another thing is that just remember in Cuba, they rely on pumping stations, and we have been restricting their oil flow.
Oh yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Cuba and Puerto Rico. Yeah, Cuba and Puerto Rico are two wings of the same bird. They receive flowers and bullets in the same heart.
And let's also not forget we're currently doing the Clinton-backed regime permanent like sweatshops in Haiti. So that's awesome.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I had just actually read this report that said about 90% of the funds that Americans graciously donated, like as individual citizens, to the Haitian relief efforts in 2011 were just squandered by the NGOs. Got lost.
Well, the
Only
problem is
10% made it to the island.
yeah, the thing with Haiti is that it's always been screwed over for the audacity of saying that they should be free from slaves.
Yeah.
I mean, the only people that probably treat them nice is the Polish, and that's given their history.
I kind of want to just look at this whole. This is kind of
Europe is actually something that I did want to talk about later if we pivot off of Puerto Rico.
Wow,
it ain't looking good.
My God, the whole world is like falling apart. Where was Puerto Rico again? Let me zoom back in. I was trying to give you a full picture. Let me go in on Puerto Rico. It's a little blurry, but I mean, just so you can see, like half the country is dry.
The main
island.
Well, yeah, it's an archipelago. There are 2 other islands. It's Vieques, and that's Culebra, and there's Isla de Moña. It's
like that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Like I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos of I think it's in some rivers and some. The old warships are appearing up because they're so run dry.
I hope people can see that because it's kind of small. I'm trying to zoom in as much as I can. I can't really
I'm sending another link. This one is from the UNL Drought Monitor. This is what the USDA uses. It'll give you a better view of Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a little hard to zoom in.
This is a US focused thing, and then Puerto Rico's a link. You should be able to click it.
Perfect. Oh yeah, this is much better. Okay.
And remember, the southern half of Puerto Rico is already dry. It's a semi-arid climate, so
yeah. So
the Central Mountains are
just how this. Sorry about that. I must have a slight delay there. So how the extremes and whatnot on this website work? This goes off of historical averages. So the southern side of Puerto Rico being naturally drier, that means it is in an extreme drought compared to its baseline. So
I see. And so it's all aside from this little corner here.
Aguadilla, I think that's probably where Aguadilla is.
The northwest portion is just not it's fine, but everywhere else is abnormally dry to exceptionally dry. This is so scary.
Yeah, you know what the worst part is they're actually building a massive luxury project in the southwest. In the most southwest municipality of Cabo Rojo, which is actually the birthplace of Betances here. So yeah,
and
Project
VMann, where do all of the the Jake Pauls and the celebrities, the rich dickheads who are trying to evade taxes, where are they on the island?
I'm not sure.
Is there a rich area in particular?
Well, I know that right now one of the most problematic areas is Rincon. It's so bad, the gentrification, that the nickname of it is Grincon.
Is that in north southwest, in general?
That's the north. That's the north. That's the northwest. That's the northwest of Puerto Rico. It's
okay. So not as dry.
Okay. Yeah, but it's you can literally go to Rincon, and you can go into entire neighborhoods, and you don't even feel like you're in the Spanish Caribbean anymore. That's how gentrified it is.
Wow.
It's you.
Isn't that the whole point of going there is to experience,
our culture,
the Caribbean?
You're supposed to go there so that some guy in a colorful mask dances around with a inflated bladder and smacks you in the face.
It's like going to New Orleans and wanting McDonald's.
It's like going to Puerto Rico and you know what? It's like going to Puerto Rico and saying, I'm going to drink Bacardi in Puerto Rico.
It's the whole situation is really scary, and then seeing that drought map is really it fills me with this unfathomable sense of existential dread, because it's especially in Europe as well is really surprising. I was not sure about that, but I want to kind of pivot now to just broader economic issues, segue into that, because Kowalski, and hopefully, VMann, you could chime back in as well with regard to the impacts on Puerto Rico as we talk about the more agricultural issues that are affecting the world thanks to Trump's Iran war. But I know that things are really dire from Kowalski's perspective, and you've kind of told me that it looks really bleak and it's probably going to get worse. So can you give us a little bit of an update to the whole situation? By the way, for those who want a broad overview, Kowalski was on my show a couple of months ago when the war first started, and it didn't look good then, and I feel like the prognosis is even worse now, right, Kowalski?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think the conflict was going to continue for more than a couple weeks after that because it seemed like there was nothing we had to gain by continuing it. And it's true, we had nothing left to gain. Why we're continuing it is like insane to me. Yeah.
It's, you know, it's like it's like you have a man who cannot hold, as Kyle Kalinske would say, he cannot hold an L to save his life.
No,
like,
he will die before he admits that he's wrong or he fucked up or anything.
No, of course.
So like just broadly, like the big overview with agriculture right now, it is pretty bad. So the fertilizer situation out of the Middle East, it hasn't been resolved. So even with us going into this super El Nino, the South America, which should have been okay from this, is going to see yield declines because they will not have enough fertilizer. There isn't enough natural gas in the world for it. So we will see like a partial decline there. If you actually pull up that global map and you look at Europe again, there's actually a couple really odd issues. So like everybody has seen the fires in Europe right now. And if you ever look into it, like the satellite maps of Western Europe look like they should in the fall, and it's come like 2 months early. So northern France, northern Germany, and then like most of Poland is called the Northern European Plain. That is their equivalent to the Midwest. That is where their grain belt is. That's where a lot of cattle are. And aside from Poland, everyone else is hemorrhaging production right now. So there's going to be bare minimum for France and Germany is like a 10% decline in grain production. I believe England, not the United Kingdom as a whole, but just England is expected to lose almost 15%.
Yeah, I've read about that.
This is fairly unprecedented. And the breadbasket of Europe is considered like Ukraine and southern Russia. Right now, they are having a hell of a time trying to transport grain out of the Black Sea because of how the drone war is affecting things there.
Yeah.
The Turks are trying to create a corridor to get ships through, but it's probably not going to pan out very well. So Europe traditionally does not have to import a lot of grain. This year, it's looking like they're going to have to, because that's how they're going to be able to feed all of their livestock and their poultry, which means they're going to be competing with places. If you look over there at India, this is really bad because India is a self-sufficient country. And when India, and then if you look at their neighbor there, Pakistan, have to import food, that starts sucking up a lot of food on the international markets. India and Pakistan can afford it just barely, which means there will not be anything left for like Central Africa. And that's when you start looking at like legitimately famine situations. Because I mean, you look there where that big drought is at, it's called the Sahel. It's kind of like a tropical grassland, very susceptible to droughts. And when that happens, their livestock craters and it causes turmoil. Part of the Sudan civil war right now is partially from the climate impacts on their food supplies. So this is just going to exacerbate problems all over the area.
My God.
Yeah, no, it's a shit sandwich.
So let's assume tomorrow the war ends. That's just a very optimistic approach. Would that, I mean, basically what I'm trying to ask is like, has the ship sailed? Are we kind of fucked for the foreseeable future because of this? Like, if you were to end everything right away, could we mitigate some of the damage, or at least for the year, like, are the chances dead?
So right now, I would say the price of food would get pretty unreasonable for a lot of people. For us in the West, it's a pain in the ass, but we can afford it. For the people in the margins, though, without the United Nations basically providing food aid to Africa, you're almost certainly guaranteed to have famine conditions, but there should be enough of the surpluses around the world. Even if we had a bad 2026 and a bad 2027, there would be enough food to go around. But whether there is the proper distribution for that is the question. Because with the U.S. pulling out of USAID, it basically shattered the backbone of the UN's like logistical network.
Yeah, no,
Europe and China could pick up the pieces of it, but they've never done it before. So you'd be asking them to try to take over an institution that they have no experience in doing. And one of the reasons the U.S. always took the lead on it is because we've always been a food exporting powerhouse. But thanks in large part to like a lot of very bad decisions in the last 15 years, the U.S. has been losing its ability to export a lot of food. At least anything beyond cereal grains. So
now, one thing on the subject of food, I was going to get your take on the beef that's coming from Argentina that Trump has. I don't know if it's here yet. I know it was recalled.
Malay's mystery meat.
The mystery meat. Yeah, I know that Europe does not accept this. China does not accept their meat because of a particular chemical that they use. What's this situation on that, Kowalski? I know that he fucked over a lot of American farmers with the trade war to begin with. So can you give us an update on that and that the fucking horse meat / donkey meat potentially and what you know about that? Because I know you follow this shit. It's not necessarily like in your wheelhouse, but I know you know a lot about this stuff.
So the actually the horse meat thing, we'll start there. Right now, the government is essentially allowing the illegal hunting of wild horses because if the wild horses are gone, the land they're on is no longer considered protected, which would allow basically a wealth transfer. The federal government would hand this land over to some of Trump's friends. Or this is really being facilitated by Doug Burgum. He's the Secretary of the Interior. He's a very weird mixed bag. He's a billionaire. He's technically a tech billionaire because he sold some tech company that he made in North Dakota to Microsoft and made billions. Used that to jumpstart his political career. And then he has a really good understanding of like 15-minute cities, but he really wants to just destroy public lands. It makes no sense because like he has an understanding of how infrastructure works, but at the same time, he just wants to set the West on fire and then privatize everything. So
privatization, I know that one very well.
So
yeah, we could get into that stuff in a second, but you go finish on this.
Oh, I mean, like what has happened in Puerto Rico is a good example of like the imperial project abroad coming home and being used here. But with the horses gone, it's strange too, because the government is essentially, by the government, I mean, all of you folks out there who are, tax-paying Americans, you're paying roughly $3,000 a horse to run them down, capture them, and then I believe we have to send them to Canada to be butchered because you can't butcher horses in the US anymore. And that's costing about $3,000 in order to get about $700 worth of meat.
Ugh.
Wow. Makes perfect economic sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't even include like transportation costs. It's literally makes no sense.
And it's also a horse, a beautiful creature. Like, what are we doing?
Look, I'm all for horse torture. It's fine. They're bad creatures. You've ever seen paintings of 18th century warfare? Horses are everywhere. They're warmongers.
That's a fair point.
I'm just joking. I'm a farmer. We are perpetually at odds with ranchers. So, so that's basically what they're trying to do there is to clear these horses out in order to seize the land for pennies on the dollar, which really stupid because the land should, if it is getting cleared out, probably go to the indigenous tribes that it rightfully belonged to, especially if you look at all the treaties. But the imported beef from Argentina, if that is where it's coming from, it looks like that's mostly what he is referring to. There is a disease, I believe it's in the northern La Plata, where you have to give your livestock antibiotics occasionally. The antibiotics that I don't know about Brazil's regulations on it. Argentina's regulations are really poor. if you give this to the animal, there is an increased chance of you getting cancer eating the meat because it's carcinogenic. We have not used that in the States since like I want to say the 90s, and we beat the Europeans to getting rid of this. Canada, the United States, and Europe have very similar beef standards. There are reasons we don't sell a lot of beef to like Europe because they have their own domestic herds, and they more or less fake a lot of the health concerns in order to do protections in their markets. Free trade agreements are really great in theory. In practice, everybody protects their agricultural production. So there's a lot of misinformation on that. US food standards are very similar to European food standards. It's just American portions are a lot larger, which leads to most of our health issues, and a lot of sugar gets added. That's, in a nutshell, the biggest issue. If the Maha movement wanted to do anything, you would just cut down on the sugar and portion sizes. Boom. Glad I solved that. Please
and
stop
vaccines.
Get rid of the vaccines.
Get rid of vaccines too.
How do you imagine that? It's actually, Puerto Rico actually had like the highest vaccination rate during COVID. I think it was in the 70s.
Did they really?
70%. It's a byproduct of the universal healthcare system because when it was established, they went through a mass public health education initiative. Educating them how to avoid infectious diseases. Like teaching, vaccine awareness, things like that. So, like, when it comes to most general health, Puerto Ricans are very trustworthy. It's only when it comes to reproductive health, it's where they're skeptical. And that just stems from, the forced sterilization thing. Now,
I feel like that's pretty
understandable.
reasonable. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable approach.
If the health issues weren't bad enough with this imported Argentinian beef, the other issue is that about the 300,000 tons is about 3 to 4% of like the US domestic consumption. So it's not like an overwhelming amount, but it is enough to actually start pushing down the price of like the live animals that ranchers sell. The issue is that this solves nothing. It might cause ground beef to go down temporarily in the supermarkets, but there's no guarantee of that. And the big reason is the monopoly of the meat packers, and the fact that when you put downward pressure on the live animal, the returns the rancher is making on those animals goes down. So their ability to rebuild their herd does not improve. We have the smallest cattle herd in the United States since like 1956. And it's because of the economic forces around it. It's difficult for ranchers to hold on to animals right now to build the next generation. Instead, you're just selling them for slaughter. There's been a lot of pressure on ranchers lately. So right now, I get as consumers, many of you do not like these higher prices, but these higher prices is what allows ranchers to pay to build the next generation. So when Trump decides to put this downward pressure on price, that prevents ranchers from being able to build this next generation. So we won't be able to increase our herd size because there's a financial pressure preventing it. So next year, we'll still have a small cattle herd, which means the price will still be high in the supermarket. And we just lost a year where we could have been rebuilding the herd.
It's just putting a Band-Aid on a gangrenous wound.
I mean, it's kind of like doing a blood transfusion and just allowing an open wound to, keep pouring blood out. It makes no sense. And rightfully, this is pissing a lot of ranchers off. If this is kind of optimistic on my part, but you know how in the state of Texas, they really gerrymandered the hell out of the place, especially recently. So one of the things they did was like a district in Houston, which is in like southeastern Texas. Part of that district now extends all the way out to the Texas Panhandle. And West Texas is ranch country. So you got a lot of ranching communities out there. The idea was you could dilute the libs in Houston with all of these ranchers, and that's how you would maintain this red district. Well, when all the cattle associations are now saying, well, Trump just stabbed us in the back, they might not vote blue, but they might not show up for the midterms. And when you were looking at very light pink districts to begin with, where Republicans only had a 4 to 5 point advantage, and now you're going into a year where Democrats just as a whole are like 8 points above the average. And now in Texas, part of your rock core base is pissed at you because you are financially ravaging them for no reason. You could look at a lot of those pink districts going blue. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Chuck Schumer will find rakes to jump on.
Yes,
but
true.
Yes,
the Democrats in Texas at least seem to know what they're doing this year.
I mean, they have a good candidate there. I think Hinojosa has been making some good strides recently. Some of those that AI ad was really good.
Yeah, I think that's another thing is if you look at Texas, which I was really surprised by, Greg Abbott did something that Republicans never do, which is back down on an issue. He signed like this really big deal with Google to bring in data centers. And now there is a full-on rebellion, especially from rural voters, because these are being built in their backyards and they are fucking pissed off.
Well, Texas, don't mess with Texas. It's their motto.
That's their motto. And he messed with them. So now he's saying, nope. We're going to do more regulations on these data centers. He's running away from it. And you see a lot of Republicans. There's Mike Rogers in Michigan. There is Tom Tiffany in Wisconsin. They're running these anti-data center campaigns specifically because a lot of these data centers are being placed in very rural areas as well. It's not just like, poor communities of Black and brown people. It's also in rural neighborhoods that don't want this there. It's making their electricity go up. Americans voted for Hitler too because they wanted the price of eggs to come down by like 5 cents. So if you raise their electricity bills, they're gonna go crazy and like they'd vote for fucking the polar opposite.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, because my sister's just messaging me consistently. She's asked me to talk about Proyecto Esencia. So let me get this out of the way.
Sure. What's that?
So Proyecto Esencia is basically in Cabo Rojo. It's this luxury billionaire play place for the Epstein class. I actually have a video on it, but it's you have to mute it because it's the music's copyrighted, but there's subtitles.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up. Is that in the Blue Sky thread?
Yeah, it's in the Blue Sky thread. Let me see. It's it's a project. Yeah.
I think I saw a video. Let me hang on one second. Let me pull it in.
Yeah, you just make sure the.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make sure it's muted beforehand.
Okay. Let me share this tab instead. This one. Okay, so I will mute that.
Now that we all have your attention on the water crisis.
Hold on, let me see it. This is full.
Oh. What happened?
Screen
I'm not logged into Blue Sky, so it might hate.
Let me. No, I think Blue Sky. Yeah, no, I think you have to just pull.
Now that we all have your attention on the water crisis happening in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. You all can see that.
This will be
okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So now that we have your attention on the water crisis happening in Puerto Rico, let's talk about Project Esencia. It's proposed mega luxury development in Cabo Rojo spanning roughly 1,500 acres of Puerto Rico's southwestern coast, a multi-billion-dollar project backed by international investors. She doesn't even go here. Oh, okay. That was the Mean Girls. That's the Mean Girls clip spliced in, threw me off.
Yeah, no, just actually you could just turn off the caption. So
go by hers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has it right there.
Residencies aimed at high-end tourism. Supporters argue it'll create jobs and boost the local economy, as they always do, but many Puerto Ricans' environmental groups and organizations clearly oppose it. They argue it could displace local communities, put additional pressure on already limited water resources, increase privatization of coastal areas that are protected by law, and threaten sensitive ecosystems that many believe that should be protected. For many Puerto Ricans, this isn't just about one development. It's about a larger pattern of outside investment trying to reshape the island. All the while, locals struggle with housing affordability, infrastructure issues, and access to natural resources like the beach. That's why you've seen protests not only in Puerto Rico, but all over the diaspora, like here in New York City. Puerto Rico is now for sale. If you care about protecting our land, our beaches, and our communities, follow. So
Defende Cabo Rojo. So like I said, what they did is and I actually pull up the screen. Actually, go back to the
Escuchar la verdad if you want to support her.
No, that's just a YouTube channel that collects all these pro-independence videos.
Oh, okay.
So Puerto Rican Mitch McConnell, which I actually have a screenshot of him. His name is Thomas.
Does he look like Mitch McConnell?
No, he has an evil mustache. So basically, he's a hybrid.
That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting a turtle VMann.
No. He's a hybrid of. So he's Mitch McConnell's political savviness, Donald Trump's temperament, with the charisma of a wet rock. His name is Tomas Rivera Schatz. So if you could, let's see if we can pull him up. He's the president of the Senate of Puerto Rico. Let's see if I can find him. Yeah, it's right beneath Chris Farley in a wig. It's right beneath. You can pull it back. So
okay. Oh, give me 1 second. Let me reshare that.
Yeah.
If this is the right guy, let me see. Am I seeing a Hitler mustache VMann, or is that just white hair?
That's no. I think that's just his He just has a real. Yeah, it might be a hit. It might look a little.
Oh, okay. No, it was the shadow. It looked like a Hitler mustache for a second.
Yeah, no. So this guy, and if you can see right next to him is his mugshot from when he got arrested for attacking. There was a group of Puerto Rican women who were overseeing this new office established, and they decided not to put up the U.S. flag. And being a pro-statehood sycophant like he is, he threw a hissy fit and launched a protest, got into a scuffle, and got arrested for assault. That's why you can see his mugshot.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, he helps pass a law in the Puerto Rican Senate that says if you want to legally challenge a permit, you need to post bond worth 10% of the project's value. So given Proyecto Esencia's cost it would take $200 million for Cabo Rojo for residents to post a bond to legally challenge the permit, effectively stripping them of their right to legally challenge this.
So there's no chance that they can challenge this, essentially.
And the worst part is they actually voted for the PIP in the general election. I don't know if you could see the electoral map, which I actually put up there. Actually, it's at the top. I think it's at the top. Let's see. If you could just scroll up a little. Let's see. That's the attack ad, which is there it is right there. You could just
this one.
You could just the next to it. No, right up. Yeah. As you can just see, it's the southwestmost community. You can see they voted for Juan Dalmau of the left.
Interesting.
So you can just see the Southwest. They voted against this, and they're getting screwed over by it.
Wow. That's
really
fucked
up.
up.
I could just go. So I could go into the current political figures. So you have Juan Dalmau, who is the leader of the Independence Party. I actually have his picture. So he's been in the party for years. Harvard graduate, UPR graduate, political science, actually took part in the protest to oust the U.S. Navy from Vieques. He's been in Puerto Rican politics for over a decade. He first ran for governor in 2012, got less than 3% of the vote. Then he ran for Senate in 2017. In 2016, he won. He then ran for governor again in 2020, got 13% of the vote. And as you can see in 2024, he got 32%. He got roughly over 30% of the vote. So each election, he's gradually increased. He's a very charismatic leader. He actually has the resist fist tattooed on his back.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Now, Governor Gonzalez, I'm curious, does she I know she's like a mega chub, but does she have her own like mini cult of personality, kind of like Trump, or is she just like an adherent and is like fascism, like that flavor of politics, just popular?
She's a MAGA freak. I do think she has her own base. I mean, it's shrinking. Right now, there's a civil war between her and Rivera Schatz because Rivera Schatz had supported the prior governor, Pedro Pierluisi, in the primary, a so-called Democrat who was also a coal lobbyist. A guy who...
Yeah, that actually checks out. It's like, it's your Joe Manchin, basically.
No. A guy who, when he got elected, declared a state of emergency for the attacks against trans people, But the moment Gonzalez was breathing down his neck in the primary, went to go throw trans people under the bus because, my political survival matters more than having any moral character.
Yeah.
So they're beefing with each other, and the party's really having an infighting issue. In fact, I actually have like I said, they bled a lot of support because of how incompetent they are, how ineffective they are. Meanwhile,
I would imagine that the Iran war situation is also got to be having the same effect, right? I mean, grocery prices are going up. It's exacerbating the cost of living. So it's kind of, that's probably fueling infighting as well, right?
I gotta imagine something. Also, the idiot Gonzalez has been also waging war on Puerto Rico's attempt to go to green energy. She scrapped green energy initiatives. She attempted to eliminate the tax incentives for purchasing solar. Like I said, she's
like Donald Trump.
She's doubling down on fossil fuels. She actually doubled down on a massive contract for natural gas with New Fortress Energy, and there was a whole big dispute over it. Ironically, New Fortress Energy is owned by a friend of Donald Trump.
Well, that's really surprising.
So there's that. But so there's that, and then we also have the Nepo baby, which is Pablo Jose Hernandez Rivera. I actually think it's on there. So he's the resident commissioner of Puerto Rico. I don't know if you can pull up his picture.
What's his name?
Pablo Jose Hernandez Rivera.
Let me see.
It's the one that's the picture. I think it's the. Yeah, let's see. Scroll down. Yes, there it is. That's him next to his. That's it. Just past it. It's the one with the black and white picture. There it is. Right there. That's him, and that's his grandfather. I swear they voted for him just because he looks like his grandfather.
I was gonna say he looks like a Nepo baby, but I didn't want to say that just in case he was like a good guy.
No. So basically, as you can see, the Popular Democratic Party had their worst election performance in 2024. They didn't win a majority in a single municipality. So he wins the resident commissioner seat. So he gets essentially anointed party president. And the first thing he does is shoot himself in the foot by opening his mouth. Because, the party is clearly losing support because its refusal to evolve on status and its centrist politics. So guess what's the first thing he says upon taking the role of party leadership? We must be realist, autonomous, and centrist. And I don't know if you actually go back up. I have the chart. Let's see where the chart. Yeah, I have a chart that shows like the political party identification in Puerto Rico. It's scroll up a little more slowly. That's one of the attack ads the PNP threw against Dalmau during the 2024 election. There it is, right there. There it is.
This one?
Yeah. So this is. So I don't know if you 8 months. So this is so this poll was taken 8 months. Was completed 8 months after he assumed party leadership. I don't know if you can see, like 8 months. Yeah. 8 months in party. 8 months of being party leader, and his party's down over 3 percentage points.
Damn.
And you can see the only party that actually saw an uptick is the Puerto Rican Independence.
Wow.
Yeah. No. So like I said. Now, I want to clarify, it is within the margin of error of the poll, but when you're being billed as the savior of your party, the golden boy who's going to return the party back to its glory days, that's not a good result. So your best outcome is, we saw no marginal decline or increase. That's still a bad outlook for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like his attacks against Dalmau are pretty pathetic. I think the one next to it is the attack ad that he put out. Yeah, there you can just zoom in a little. Yeah, zoom in a little. So yeah, he's attacking. So his zoom in a little.
Sorry, it's not letting me zoom in. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, so you can just see it says contrast. So he's trying to attack Dalmau, who's in the green for being. So this is Juan Dalmau using his own personal finances to take flying lessons. He's trying to compare this to the governor of Puerto Rico riding a motorcycle through the streets, which requires her to have a police escort and like block off large chunks of traffic. He's trying to compare that, saying, oh, look, it's just as bad. Meanwhile, I'm here sitting doing work when you're the resident commissioner and all you do is just talk. Like, you don't even have a vote. All you can do is vote in committee. That
this
is
like worse than a Democrat attack ad, I feel like. Like, this is so milquetoast.
Oh, do you want to see the Red Scare fear mongering the PNP did during the election?
I do. First, I have to comment, this is a crazy fit for a motorcycle ride. Like, that's crazy.
All right, so yeah, let's just pull that. So
is that in this thread somewhere?
It's down here. This one you don't need to. There's no scroll down a little more. There it is, right there.
Oh, the comunistas.
Yeah, this one's really. Oh, this one you can actually play the volume.
Oh, hang on. Blue Sky doesn't like when I press play on the videos. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna just bring it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll play the volume here.
All right, so
there we go. Okay, let me just make sure you all. Okay, I don't think you all see that yet. Here we go.
There we go.
Está en peligro. Nuestra relación con Estados Unidos está en peligro.
Los comunistas de aquí amenazan con tomar el poder. Los dictadores comunistas, enemigos de Estados Unidos.
Oh, damn. See, like, you don't even have to, like, speak Spanish to know exactly what the fuck they're saying. They're here. You see, Hugo Chavez. Damn. The tone in her voice, though, really sells it so much more than, like, American Red Scare propaganda. I'll keep playing.
Okay, then you can actually see, the resist fist tattoo is in this ad.
This is so good.
Son los aliados de Juan Dalmao. Díaz Canel de Cuba.
Viva Puerto Rico libre.
Daniel Ortega de Nicaragua.
Que Puerto Rico será libre.
Y el dictador narcotraficante de Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro.
¡Que viva Puerto Rico libre!
¿Usted ha favorecido el régimen de Maduro en el pasado?
Yo he sido claro que yo respeto la soberanía de los pueblos.
Dalmau respeta la soberanía de Maduro para robar elecciones y asesinar, porque los dos son comunistas.
El Partido Popular y el Proyecto Dignidad no tienen fuerza para detener a los comunistas. Darles el voto dividiría a los proamericanos. Para defender la unión permanente con Estados Unidos, la ciudadanía americana, los fondos federales y tus libertades religiosas, vota con una sola cruz, debajo de la palma, en las 3 papeletas.
You know what? I will say this. If they were playing this kind of Red Scare propaganda in the U.S., I might actually be a conservative. This is really good. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so much better. We are getting the worst propaganda ever. They're like just putting up, you know, the whole platforms of DSA candidates, and they're like, they support Medicare for all and universal pre-K, but they're like.
It's like, that is just fun. But the funniest thing is actually during the election when they had the whole Venezuela scandal and everything with the election in Venezuela, Dalmau actually came out and said, release the electoral data. He actually said, yeah, no, we should have transparency. Release the electoral data to the international world. And he said that in an interview. And he's like, so it's like, you're attacking him for defending Maduro when he did not defend Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, so, yeah.
That's honestly amazing.
Yeah, no, that was like...
It's almost as good as the I Will Vote for Donald Trump song. Remember when...
the Cubans. Oh, don't get me started on the Miami Cubans, because those...
Well, that was... You know what was funny is that was the response after the comedian at the Madison Square Garden Nazi rally in 2024, after he said that, like, Puerto Rico was a giant heap of trash floating in the ocean. That's when Trump played that song as like his response, and it kind of worked, I guess. I don't know. It was a great song, though.
I will sit here and say this is that the thing with Miami Cubans, and I will say this is that, like, I cannot say they're the biggest whiners, because your grandparents, you want to sit here about the big bad Fidel. Your grandparents sat by when Bautista overthrew democratically elected President Carlos Prios Socarras, tore up the 1940 Constitution of Cuba. You sat that your grandparents sat there and let it happen. You didn't fuss up, because you know why? You didn't lose anything from that. You didn't lose the labor courts. You know who lost in that? The mestizos and mulatto Cuban working class. They're the ones who lost everything. the press lost everything. It's only when Fidel came in and decided to give back to the people that they suddenly start crying.
You know what's also really strange? Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio are the two most prominent Cuban American politicians in the country.
And they're the most black, they're the most pale-skinned Cubans.
Well, they didn't flee Castro. It was Batista.
Exactly.
Like they fled the American puppet who was torturing them. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And now they're fascists themselves.
Yeah, no, so obviously I could go on about the Independence Party, the policies. So I'll go with some of them. So their policies, obviously, they're Medicare for all, they're pro-labor, they want to their whole thing is they want to reduce dependency on the United States because they understand that federal, like being hooked on federal funding doesn't solve the core structural issues.
Is it kind of like a more moderate independence party? Like, are they pushing for an independence vote or just a little bit more of autonomy?
What they want right now is because they learned the lesson of Marin from the 1940s, saying right now we need to focus on the current domestic issues.
I see.
We want to stabilize the situation so that Puerto Ricans can vote, from a position of comfort, because essentially the crisis functions as a form of coercion.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're voting based on survival, not based on your free choice. So you need to have a stable situation to actually have a proper vote. And that's another reason why the PNP doesn't do that, because in a proper vote, they lose. This is why they constantly have to meddle with the referendums. In fact, it's such a problem that in 2013, the Senate reviewed the 2012 referendum and declared it inconclusive because the way the PNP structured the ballot made it too confusing. They said, you guys are clearly cheating. You guys are not playing fair. So after that, in 2014, Congress, as part of the budget appropriation bill that year, pre-allocated $2.5 million for Puerto Rico to hold a domestic referendum based on the conditions that the ballot could pass independent review by the DOJ. Do you know how many times that ballot has passed the review?
0.
In 2020, the PNP did not even put sovereignty options on the ballot. It was just yes or no for statehood. It was literally, that was it. They just said, we don't care about playing fair. They're so corrupt that they literally stripped opposition parties from consulting on the referendum. They made it so that now the governor can simply just call it via an executive order because they were about to lose their supermajority in December of 2020. So you'd have to call a referendum, because how else are you going to get your one-issue voters to turn out who also just hate your guts?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you going to get those one-issue voters to turn out and boost your elections? Because we all know young people don't like you. They kicked out your governor in 2019. Well, it's like, young people don't like you. Like, nobody really likes you. Only like this, it's this the statehood base is a very shrinking base of older people. It's like, I have a survey there where you can see the youth vote. I don't know if you could, a poll which shows like youth vote in Puerto Rico based on status preference. Let me see if I can.
Let's see, searching for it. Let me share it so you can kind of direct me.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see, make sure that's shared. Here we go.
There it is, right there. No, okay, one down right there. One right down there. So
18 to 34. Okay, I see.
So you can see green is independence, red is sovereignty and free association, blue is statehood, gray is undecided. So you can just see that. So you can see the 18 to 34. 59% support some form of sovereign status. Even among 35 to 44 years, it's the plurality which supports sovereign status.
That's actually pretty surprising. I mean, I would have guessed it would have been this way, but not this sharp, because that's significant. You said, so this is pro-independence, statehood, and what was the red?
The sovereignty free association model.
Okay, the third model. Okay.
So it's a form of sovereign status. So like I said, you look at it, and then you can obviously see the entire movement's held up by like baby boomers, Gen X, and octogenarians.
Wow.
Well, I don't mean to be the guy in the room, but 35 to 44 is all millennial now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you just reminded me of that.
I just turned
Your
30.
Mike's back hurt. I'm sorry.
Oh, by the way, VMann, he told me before we went live, it's his fucking birthday today.
Oh,
so like
happy
everybody say
birthday.
happy birthday to VMann.
Thanks. So yeah, like I said, I have another poll which shows university students also favor independence, but like you can get the gist here. So what the independence wants to do is, and they want to focus on tackling that's just the poll showing you the aggregates total. That you can see between the two sovereignty options that when you combine them, it's 44 to 44%. So it's a statistical tie between those who favor sovereign status and those who favor statehood.
Yeah, it's a little bit fragmented, but no, it's in one direction, clearly more independence.
Yeah, so the Independence Party, what they want to do is they want to tackle the dependency issues. Yeah, you can just see this.
I see. This is interesting.
Yeah, no, so what they want to do, number one, is they want to tackle food sovereignty. Puerto Rico only grows 15% of its food. The realistic goal is to get it to be 2/3. And this has been a thing going on since Hurricane Maria, which obviously completely disrupted supply chains. And it was very hard to get food. So they want to do that. They want to focus on getting that up to 2/3 so that you can grow enough food, you can produce enough food domestically so that a supply chain shock is not the kiss of death. Their other goals are obviously their green energy, they want to move to a decentralized solar powered grid, microgrids, which is actually what the town of Adjuntas has in Puerto Rico. It's entirely community owned, decentralized solar grid. It is the most reliable. It's the most reliable in all of Puerto Rico. And the other thing is they want to restructure the economy. So what they want, currently Puerto Rico operates under Act 60. These tax incentives, which basically allows these wealthy elites, multinational corporations to pay next to nothing in taxes. I think it's between 1% and 4%. So ultimately, what happens is these multinational corporations can set up shop in Puerto Rico relatively easy, pay next to nothing in taxes, and rake in the profits. Meanwhile, if you're a local Puerto Rican, you want to set up shop, you have to go through these massive bureaucratic hurdles. You have to then meanwhile, while you're waiting for this, you're still paying the Puerto Rican government to go through all this paperwork. And then once you finally set up shop, because these guys aren't paying the tax burden, you're suddenly forced to take on that burden. So what they want to do is they want to clean up the red tape, make it easier for locals to set up shop. They want to repeal Act 60, make these guys pay at least 15% and set the corporate tax 15% for everybody. So it's easy enough for the local businesses to get off the ground, but it's also ensuring that these big multinational corporations are contributing enough to the Puerto Rican economy.
Yeah, but the real question is, would an independent Puerto Rico still allow the U.S. to have basic rights?
That one's a question. I think the Independence Party, I believe they're not a fan of those bases, In fact, they were mostly shut down. It wasn't until Donald Trump brought them back up. Actually, funny, Gonzalez actually sent him a letter after Maduro said, Donald Trump, Maduro scares me. Please set up the bases. Please reopen the bases. And
that way, her excuse was Maduro to set up the bases again.
Yes. Maduro sent basically made some vague threat of liberating Puerto Rico, even though he doesn't have the military capacity.
Did she actually think that Maduro would be able to invade Puerto Rico? There's no way she believes that. I mean, she is a Trumpian, but is she that dumb or is she just pretending?
I think she's pretending. The entire statehood movement's a political scam. They even created a fake version of statehood to sell to voters because they understand how unpopular it is. It's called.
Is it possible that the governor is just Drewski who's fucking with everybody?
I have no idea.
Pretending to be the governor.
Okay, so someone's asking, I'm going to clarify this again for the flags. The green and white flag is the Puerto Rican Independence Party. The flag in the middle is the original flag of Puerto Rico used in the first ever pro-independence revolt, El Grito de Lares. And that's the accurate Puerto Rican flag with the sky blue. So just in case everybody's wondering.
Yeah, you have a pin and you have your shirt too. Show everybody your shirt.
So I got the pin of the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party. I have the national instrument of Puerto Rico, the cuatro, which actually is a 10-stringed instrument. Don't ask why. And then the two greatest figures of the Puerto Rican independence movement, Don Pedro Albizu Campos and the father of Puerto Rico, Dr. Ramon Emeterio Betances. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, no. So let me say. So where was I on the talking about? What was I talking about again?
The military basing.
I don't know. I interrupted you because I got sidetracked when you told me that about Gonzalez.
They don't want military bases. I was talking about Cubano statehood. So, like, this was created by the first pro-statehood governor of Puerto Rico, Ferrer, in 1968, because he won, despite statehood being deeply unpopular, because Puerto Ricans were afraid it would destroy their cultural identity, their national identity. Because the U.S. basically had spent the first 50 years under control trying to wipe it out. So he had to create a way. So basically, he just sold it. Well, we can become the Quebec of America. That was basically the gist. So the idea is that the United States would grant exemptions to Puerto Rico to preserve cultural identity, and that Puerto Rico could maintain its international sports sovereignty. I don't know if you notice it, every 4 years when the Olympics comes around, Puerto Rico has an Olympics team.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Puerto Ricans, I'm actually wearing a Puerto Rico World Baseball Classic hat. So this is the Team Puerto Rico national hat. So Puerto Ricans value the ability to watch their athletes play on the international stage. I mean, my uncle, who is not the biggest, loud and proud Puerto Rican, when Monica Puig won gold in tennis at the Rio Olympics, he posted about it and he was ecstatic for it. So, yeah. So Puerto Ricans love watching our athletes play under our own flag. We like, we enjoy, hearing our national anthem, La Borinqueña, play when our athletes win, of course. We enjoy that. So, to lose that is a very big deal. I think, in fact, over 70% said it's integral to their identity. But of course, Jibaro statehood is a total lie. Because, as you know, no other state has an independent Olympics team. There's no Texas Olympics team. There's no California Olympics team. And so that's a lie. And of course, the idea that Puerto Rico could get exemptions to protect its cultural identity runs afoul of the equal footing doctrine, the 14th Amendment. In fact, the only reason Puerto Rico is able to preserve its cultural identity right now is because of the insular cases, because things like the 14th Amendment and those things don't apply to Puerto Rico. Like, for example, Puerto Rico education is done entirely in Spanish. So if you're an English student, if you're an English speaker, you move to Puerto Rico, your kids start going to Puerto Rican schools, they legally don't have to accommodate you, because you can't sue, because since that part of the Constitution doesn't apply, they can legally discriminate against you. They can do that. So
interesting.
So once you become a state, because you're under that every state has to be equal. Sure, you can pass a law saying that it's the official Spanish is the official language, but you're going to have to accommodate English speakers in everyday life, and that's something that Puerto Ricans don't want to do. And of course, and I had to talk about the Fiscal Oversight Board, because I think we had to talk about what happened in 2016 with Obama. One of the worst things happened in Puerto Rico, almost worse than the hurricane.
What was that? Could you give us an overview of that?
So the Fiscal Oversight Board, as it's called in Puerto Rico, La Junta, is Promesa, was a bill passed in 2016 during the debt crisis when Puerto Rico could not pay back its debt because decades of mismanagement, just taking out bonds. Mind you, the U.S. made were triple tax exempt, so Wall Street just gobbled them up. So I wanted to say that at the time, the governor of Puerto Rico, Alejandro Garcia Padilla, decided to conduct an audit because Puerto Rico's constitution has strict laws about debt. What they wanted to do was comb over it to see how much of it was legal, how much of it was within the legal confines of the Puerto Rican Constitution. Because any debt that violated the strict guidelines, they could challenge, they could renegotiate, or they could just simply not pay it. That was their plan. Meanwhile, at the same exact time, well, as that's happening, Obama worked, they pushed through Promesa, which ironically was lobbied by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is actually the great nephew of the Puerto Rican Independence Party founder, Gilberto Concepcion de Gracia. And he lobbies for this. And what this does is this establishes a fiscal control board, which manages Puerto Rico's budget. And they have greater power than the Legislative Assembly, the Supreme Court, and the governor of Puerto Rico. So they can override local law if it means that they have to help pay back the Puerto Rican debt, to pay back Wall Street. And this board is stacked with all Wall Street folks. So you know how they... So, for example, in 1966, Governor Roberto Sanchez Villela, the least corrupt governor in Puerto Rico history, of course, passes a bill that mandates that 9.6% of the budget be allocated to the island's public university system, the University of Puerto Rico. So that is law. So by the Puerto Rican law, you cannot drop the budget below 9.6% for UPR. But because Promesa can overrule Puerto Rican law, can overrule the governor, can overrule the courts, they look at that law and say, we don't care. So they can slash the butt. So they've hacked, gutted the budget. They've gutted government pensions. They've gutted public services. And the fact of the matter is, any budget the Puerto Rican government passes has to get green lit by the Fiscal Control Board. And this plays back to the infrastructure problems. If you allocate money to a project to fix these public utilities, that has to be green lit by the board. And they only care about paying back Puerto Rico's debt. So that's the last thing they're going to green light.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to always be austerity and everybody's going to get fucked. It's just like you guys are kind of getting... It's a shakedown. We talk about colonialism and whatnot. We talk about all these individual policies and bad governance, but it's just overall, it's a classic shakedown. It's always been a shakedown.
Like I said, the worst part was, like I said, they shut down the committee to audit the debt. And the thing was, the early findings, they found that there was a lot of this debt that was illegal. They basically say there's a good chance a lot of this debt is illegal by the Puerto Rican Constitution. So they shut it down before it could, be completed.
Sassy says, this is how the IMF gets people too. Yeah, I mean, it's really...
Even some state constitutions have quirks in them. Here in Nebraska, it is technically against the Constitution to run a budget deficit, which we've actually been running a budget deficit now for 3 years. Great job, Republicans. So our governor, he recently told our university system, you have to cut 5% of your spending somehow. And the university has already been cutting spending because of these really stupid policies. And a couple
they don't need you to go to university. Why get you educated? Same thing in Puerto Rico. You don't need a university degree to make a piña colada for Nancy from Dubuque.
Well, they actually did find that one of the reasons our budget is blown out right now is during COVID, the federal government sent out essentially block grants to all the states to help them cover the short-term economic impact of this. Red states in particular used these block grants to do tax cuts instead of actually putting it towards their budgets. So a state like Nebraska got this free fall or this windfall from the Fed, and then instead of investing it, instead of using it to, I don't know, provide social services or something, they put it towards justifying tax cuts. And because you have to have a balanced budget in Nebraska, if you're artificially subsidizing tax cuts with a one-time block grant, what do you think the ultimate outcome would end up being? Which is really sad because Nebraska, kind of just going to the weird quirks of economics. You would probably imagine a place like Nebraska and Kansas are pretty similar economically. We're right next to each other. They have about 1 million more people than us, but, comparable industries and layouts and geography. Nebraska had a faster growing population, a stronger economy than Kansas from 2008 to 2018. We had a $9 minimum wage starting in 2009. We had more regulations than Kansas, and yet we had higher taxes than Kansas as well. And yet our state grew faster, and the average Nebraskan got wealthier than the average Kansan. Do you want to know why this happened? When you have higher taxes, corporations in your state don't get to expropriate as much of their profit. It stays in the state. Then the state has the resources to pay for things like infrastructure, which means you're employing local people. When you have a higher minimum wage, it's the same effect. Out-of-state corporations weren't able to take as much profit out of Nebraska, so the average Nebraskan was wealthier. And when you look at our neighboring states, the only other two states that had a higher minimum wage than us was Colorado and Iowa. And if you compare like Iowa to Missouri, Missouri is a state where they had a lower minimum wage than Iowa. Iowa did better. So it's really dumb. They have all of these austerity measures in place, but those are usually like economic engines in the long run that actually make your state run better. Kansas also went off the deep end in like 2014 with the Greenback Initiative, which was like the lowest taxes in the country, and it just exploded their deficit. It devastated their infrastructure. It's the reason why right now they have a Democratic governor. Blood Red Kansas got a Democratic governor because the Republicans there crashed the economy so hard that they were fed up with it.
I mean, the top 10 worst states to live in terms of just like sheer quality of life are all red states, because there's a lack of funding when it comes to healthcare. There's more crime because there's more poverty, because they have no social safety
really
net.
Crazy? Texas is in like the bottom, I want to say 15 states that people want to live in. Obviously, people go there because there are jobs and whatnot, but Texas has more oil wealth than Saudi Arabia.
Jesus.
It has more manufacturing than any other state in the country. This place or that place should be like a dream location in the country. They have budget surpluses to the tune of tens of billions in Texas. They are one of the few states that could legitimately have single payer healthcare, state funded. They have terrible roads. They have a crumbling electrical grid.
Privatized.
It makes no sense. They have more money than the Saudis just from oil, plus they have manufacturing.
Idiot leadership.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean,
they actually got competent state leadership there, the place could actually do really well. Now, unfortunately, they're going to waste all of this time, and then climate change will get them.
Of course.
So,
yeah. I mean, listen, you can't expect Republicans to govern, because they can't. That's the one thing they don't do. They get in office, they do tax cuts and wars, and then they bitch out. One thing I will say about Democrats is that, as annoying and milquetoast as they are, they do at least meet our expectations when it comes to like basic governance, like basic governance. Yeah, baseline competency, which the Republicans just simply don't have. And I think that, it took Trump to get people to see that, this party is not very serious. But unfortunately, since we're a country with the memory of goldfish, everybody will forget in 4 years or 6 years, I should say.
The
and
amount
vote for
of people that I have talked to who thought that like the COVID lockdowns were under Biden is insane. Like everybody forgets 2020 was literally Trump. Everybody forgets DeSantis was the first governor to actually do lockdowns. Yeah, he was the first one.
That wasn't that long ago, too.
No, it wasn't.
Jeez.
The political. I think Americans just are really frustrated, and that we don't have a good political understanding as a collective society to really express our issues on this. Because when you have ineffective political leadership, bouncing back and forth between the two lead parties is very common. And if Democrats cannot find a really good candidate to rally around behind for like a national cause of some kind, I do fear the next like 6 to 8 years it'll just be another back and forth.
Yeah, no, it's like the same thing. It's like with
Me
FDR.
too.
It's like when FDR came into power, it's like Republicans couldn't win an election. 5 straight wins for the Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, it's a death spiral that we keep going down, and to break the cycle, you have to have somebody that actually delivers meaningfully and materially, but that would mean that you have to defy your corporate donors. So the question is, who's going to win out, the corporate wing or the DSA wing, you know?
Yeah, that actually happened in Puerto Rico with the Popular Democratic Party, because originally it was 2 wings.
I'll be right back while you're talking, by the way.
So, okay, yeah. So there were originally 2 wings. You had a pro-autonomy. So you had the autonomous wing, which was the more established, and you had a smaller, progressive, pro-sovereignty wing. And what happened was, you know, they tried, after their last 2 election losses, 2016, after 2016, and as they were getting up for 2020, you had the progressive sovereignty wing said, you guys have run this party to the ground. We need to evolve. We need to adopt the Sovereign Free Association model as the official party status position. We need new leadership. We need to return to, you know, progressive politics. And of course, they tended to take power, and the centrist corporate wing crushed them out. And that's why the party is politically dying, and people went to go form a lot of them helped to go form another party, another left-wing party, status neutral, called Citizens Victory Movement, which is in an alliance with the Independence Party. So, yeah, it's also the funniest thing, because I get this one. The funniest thing always makes me laugh when people talk about Puerto Rico. I will see more people talk about, and this is the craziest thing, because this is a comically fringe movement. It's like there are not enough people to form a baseball team for this. I'll see people talk about it on social media. The idea of going back to Spain, which is just an absurdist talking point. Like, Spanish reunification is not a real thing. It's 40 people on a Facebook page who act like they're a real legitimate movement. And they've been saying since 2017 that they're going to form a political party. We're going to form a political party. We're going to get together. So, I was talking about the absurdity of the Spanish reunification movement.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Interesting.
It's not. It's just 40 idiots on a Facebook page who can't accept that they're of mixed ancestry.
Oh, so it's like the Greater Idaho movement in Oregon. Gotcha.
Yeah, it is like, you know, it's like mi no negro, mi blanco. Like,
Mike, if we could cover one more thing, I'm assuming
absolutely.
Most people here have seen the videos out of Nepal and Tibet from that glacier collapse.
Yeah.
So there is actually a way to bend this towards another very catastrophic.
Hold on, I see someone asking me a super chat question. Yes, Spain does give citizenship. Yes, you can apply. Citizens of former Spanish colonies can apply for fast track citizenship. It's 2 years instead of 10 years, and you can also maintain dual citizenship. So just want to answer that person's question.
Ooh, that should apply to me. The Louisiana Purchase was once part of Spain, so
I don't know. I don't know if they'll. You have to check. You have to check with Sanchez on that.
I'm going to Madrid. So I'm sure you can find some of the videos and stuff that had occurred there. But for people who are unaware, in Nepal, there was a large glacier, because, you know, Nepal is at the top of the Himalayas. And it has been so hot there that a good chunk of this glacier melted. And then either the glacier broke, which triggered like a 5-point-something earthquake, or an earthquake caused the glacier to collapse, and this led to a massive flash flood event. And from what I understand, India, Nepal, and China are working really hard to get people into the area, because this has just caused devastating washouts, and it's really terrifying. The Himalayas are warming like 2 to 3 times faster than the rest of the planet. And the Himalayas are called the water tower of Asia, because headwaters for several rivers in China, one going to Bangladesh, several going into India, and one going into Pakistan, all originate from the Himalayas. If this mountain range cannot consistently recharge, you're looking at an area that supports like 1.6 billion people being water insecure.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Ay Dios mío.
That looked like a nuke going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked like a bomb. Just
Yeah, this is like one of the most chilling videos I've seen in so long because, I mean, I think the death toll was 31 dead. I would imagine that's the preliminary death toll, but
that's just the confirmed. There's
people buried.
There has to be thousands of people at least missing. I do not envy those rescue crews. They are going into hell. Nepal has a really strong relationship with India. So what I've been reading, India has been sending a lot of people in to help, and China obviously is Tibet. So at the very least, they have, two superpowers rushing people in. So, but my God, yeah, I saw this one earlier today. Those are legitimately the size of Greyhound buses on that parking lot. And
yeah, just the people running, like it's like a fucking scary movie, but real life.
Yeah.
It's like Roland Emmerich's 2012, except
yeah,
not bad act.
Although John Cusack is great, but yeah, no, this is very, very scary. Yeah, I mean, there's just nowhere to go. You're just
you
fucked.
Literally have to run to the hills. You have to get out of the valley. And just as like a rule, most of us live in valleys. So with catastrophic climate events occurring, the chances of there being flash flood events, if you live in a valley, water can just rush in immediately. That was the big issue with Hurricane Helena when it went through Appalachia. Those hollers are essentially just valleys. So if you get dumped on, you're looking at an area that could be, several hundred square miles, all pushing into like a 10 square mile area.
Yeah.
So what is the saying? The climate change is what you see people recording on their phones, and then one day it'll be you recording it on your phone as it slowly gets closer and closer.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those wildfires here in Nebraska. Oh, the wildfires, those are a mountain problem, not a prairie problem in Nebraska. And then we lost 1 million acres. It was like 80 miles from my house.
That was like the biggest wildfires in Nebraskan history too, right?
Yeah, it was.
My God,
insane. It's not very often our fire crews can be overwhelmed, but I mean, like, what can you do when there's 40-mile-an-hour winds, no humidity, no rain, no snow, and you live on a grassy meadow?
Yeah, no, it's just the fire's just gonna do its thing.
It's horrifying. The fact that there's just a fire season every year. Like there's always been wildfires, obviously, but there's a fire season every year, and the air quality tanks. And yeah, one thing that I'm learning is that like a lot of people in Europe don't have AC. So this is something that it's becoming a necessity now that, obviously climate change is making everything more warm, but do they have the electrical grid to be able to have every single home have AC? So it's creating all these problems on top of problems. There's like this ripple effect to climate change where it starts with like the planet just warming, and then there's just like this cascading effect where all these problems create 100 different micro problems, and those micro problems have their own problems, and it's just a logistical nightmare where we're on a time limit. Like it feels very, very daunting to even think about.
It's even worse than that, because if you really want to be nervous, where is a majority of the world's manufacturing now? It's in China. It is sitting in an area that is very prone to earthquakes and susceptible to typhoons, which means the entire global supply chain can be damaged because all of this is concentrated in one spot. Not saying this is a China issue. If anything, this is an issue that the West has, basically facilitated because we exploited them for their cheap labor. We could have had manufacturing bases in the Midwest, Western Europe, Brazil. Their manufacturing system is almost completely gone. Instead, we put it in one small, efficient spot. But if anything happens to that one spot,
entire thing
you're
comes
kind of
crumbling
screwed.
down.
Yeah. The entire global supply chain. It's like another COVID supply chain issue all over again. It's just, man, the ways in which we are fucked is truly unfathomable. It's really scary to think about.
We could still roll a D20 on the dice, though.
There's always that possibility.
Get through this.
But can we save scum to roll a D20, or do we just get like one chance? Or are we fucked?
Idea.
We get 2 rolls. We get 1 mulligan.
Okay. Two rolls is better than 1. All right, I prefer to save scum, but
Yeah, no, I was thinking what we said about the no AC. That's Puerto Rico. And the thing is, and the thing is, the difference between Spanish construction and American construction in Puerto Rico is night and day. Because when the Spanish built everything in Puerto Rico, they built it to accommodate for the climate. So the material is built to disperse heat. All the old Spanish buildings have high roofs to push down cold air, and even like courtyards, they designed it to circulate air better. And like all the American buildings are just cheap concrete. Like even the house my cousins live in, Caguas, 2 old ladies, it's just cheap concrete, and that thing is like an oven in there when it gets hot.
Yeah, it's horrifying, but I don't want to get too doomer. Thank you both for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. VMann, I learned so much, and the audience did too. Kowalski, always super, super happy to pick your brain. Before we get to super chats, we don't have too much, so we'll probably be out here relatively soon. Just for anybody who wants to bounce. First, I want to give you both the chance to tell everybody where to find you and plug anything. Kowalski, go ahead and tell people. I know you have a YouTube channel. Tell everybody where to find you.
Yeah, folks, YouTube channel, Prairie Fire NEB, Neb. I actually put out a video today on the Argentinian beef thing. So if you want to if you want to see me in a tractor talking about it, I guess you can go there. But
that's what the people want.
I don't really do much on socials. So, yeah.
All right. And VMann, do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't actually. I don't, but I can...
You need to make a YouTube channel, VMann. I think people want to hear about Puerto Rican politics.
Maybe I might get into that. But I do obviously I'm a member of, I said, Hoopy BX. You can find us on Instagram. So it's like they'll love this. I'm shouting them out. So yeah, like I said, once again, youth-based organization group dedicated to a free, sovereign Puerto Rico from a socialist perspective. We're on Instagram, so you can find us there.
Very cool. Hoopy BX. It's right in your title, just in case anybody's wondering how to spell it.
That's the Bronx chapter.
Bronx chapter. Okay. Very cool. Thank you for that. All right. Well, you both are free to stay for super chats, or you are free to bounce whenever. Don't have too many, so I'd imagine we're not going to be here.
I'll stick around because I think there was a question about farmers. So.
Okay.
I don't have much to do anyway.
All right. Well, I appreciate you giving us your time on your birthday, VMann. I felt so bad when I found out it's your birthday, and you got to.
Right. Oh wait, there is one thing I forgot to mention because it is a position of the Independence Party, and I'll make it very quick. The thing they instead of a referendum, what they want to do is a constitutional status assembly. So what they want to do, the difference is. And this is actually what AOC proposed back in 2021 with the Puerto Rico Self-Determination Act. What it would do is it would transfer the power to Puerto Rico to call this convention. So the Puerto Rican Legislative Assembly would be able to call a convention anytime of their choosing. And what this would do is instead of putting the status question into the hands of partisan politics, Puerto Ricans would elect nonpartisan delegates to negotiate directly with Congress to define the terms of each status position. Once that happens, and once they finalize the deals, they would then return back to Puerto Rico and then hold a final vote on status. The reason why they want this is because it's more democratic, it's more inclusive, and it also stops the disinformation bullshit. Like you can't say like, oh well, we can keep our Olympics team, No, Congress already told you, no, that's not happening with statehood. You can't get you can't get Spanish language protections. That's already shot down. So, so basically, it basically helps to dispel disinformation.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because the problem is with these referendums is they throw a lot of bullshit. They'll throw a lot of disinformation. Like I said, they try to muddy the waters, and it's why I say it's like I use Brexit as an example of why this has to be a thorough process.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you allow right-wing populists to dictate an election, and allow a status to advance on a flawed process? That's how the UK got Brexit. It's been a disaster. You want to make self-determination has to be a deliberate, well thought out, thorough, and process.
No, that makes sense. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just got a couple here, so we'll go through them. Grand Regent of Viltrum says, I firmly believe that the government would lose a civil war, and our problems with Iran and the U.S. Navy ships only further prove my belief.
I would strongly disagree with that.
Yeah, who wants to test that theory?
We did, and you guys sent P-47s to bomb Jayuya and Utuado.
I personally have a little bit of a conspiracy theory on this. I don't think the Navy wants to be in Iran right now and is leaking that information intentionally. I don't see how we would possibly lose our logistical institutional knowledge in less than 2 years. It's farcical to think that would be the case. I think the admirals know that they can't disobey orders, and they're getting this information out to put political pressure on the administration, and it is working.
I feel like that's reasonable. I don't think that's like too far out there in terms of conspiracy theories. That would make sense to me.
It's a dick move because they're torturing sailors to do it, but I mean, they were going to torture somebody.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Checkmate. Thank you for the $5. Rip to Dolly Parton. Why could death take to the 80-year-old in the White House? Yeah, very sad. We had a bunch of deaths this week that were just so sad.
Tim Curry, Dolly Parton.
Yeah, Tim Curry is like, what the fuck is happening? I mean, all the wrong people.
God, my childhood is like, I just remember the night wild.
It's so sad.
We've lost half the cast of like the original Home Alone, and that is really sad.
Yeah, that is sad. I forget. Yeah, Catherine O'Hara was earlier this year. God,
yeah,
so sad. She's so talented too. All these people, like, God, the universe could take anyone else.
They'll live on forever in AI. Don't worry.
Oh God, please, no.
I thought you were gonna say in our hearts. I'm like, wow, Kowalski, that's wholesome. And then AI. That is, yeah. Probably the unfortunate truth. Nintendo Gaming Channel. Fact. Only American cowards claiming to be Canadian. Well, I'm a coward, baby, because if I go abroad, I'm going to say I'm a Canadian. I don't want people to think I'm American. You have to understand that, Nintendo.
I don't have to. I can just say the truth. I'm a colonized subject of the United States. There we go.
I'm Nebraskan. No one knows where that is. It'll confuse them. It's fine.
I could just say I'm an Earthling. And then, leave it ambiguous and then say, sorry, I can't tell you I'm an Earthling. And then just drop a hint, a little sorry. So I don't say it explicitly, but, I'm priming them to think I'm a Canadian. Rory Gibson, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Cartoon, thanks for the $5. The attack on Ruffalo and Hassan is BS. You hear that the Iowa and Montana AG want the Supreme Court to block the antitrust suit of the Paramount WB merger. I haven't heard about that in particular, but yeah, I don't know. Whatever they need to do, they need to block this fucking merger because I think it would be terrible. I think it's gross that the Paramount execs are smearing Mark Ruffalo for opposing this and calling him an anti-Semite. I'm just so tired of this shit. I'm tired of the disingenuous, cynical, anti-Semitism smears. The same people who are saying this, like, weren't they just accusing us of like woke scolding and using identity politics like not that long ago, and now they're doing it? I just don't understand. Are we for or against identity politics and the weaponization of it? It's just I can't keep up. Cartoon thought on Enes Kanter prank he did in a WNBA game. I don't know about the particular prank, but if I'm thinking of the correct thing, he like showed up to a WNBA event and was like heckling the players, and he wore a shirt like saying that a woman is a human female, like that was the description on his shirt, and he was, I mean, I was considering doing a video about this, and Royce, who's also like pretending to be a woman to play in the WNBA, but I just feel like I can't feed the beast because these people are very clearly looking for attention, and I don't want to give that to them. These people, they don't give a shit about trans people or cis people or women's sports. They just want to grift and make a name for themselves by doing this dumb bullshit political stunt. And I don't want to participate in it. NS Cantor is very clearly a virtue signaling dipshit. Didn't he change his name to NS Cantor Freedom or some shit like that? It's just embarrassing.
I don't know if that's true, but it feels true.
I feel like, yeah, chat can back me up on that, but I'm pretty sure he changed his name to Ennis Cantor Freedom. It is true. Okay. I'm not hallucinating that. Yeah, at least Atypical
That is
says.
just such that is like the most right wing thing. Freedom.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's worse than Meta World Peace. At least that name. It's like, all right, it's a platitude as your name, but it's a name. But this is like.
I gotta. Oh, you know, you was talking about Marco Rubio. I just remembered this because this is gonna make you laugh your ass off. Do you know what the literal translation of his name is?
What?
Mark Blonde.
Are you serious?
Marco is the basic Spanish thing for Mark, and Rubio is the actual Spanish word for blonde.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so his name is Mark Blonde. You just remember that.
Good for him. Good for him.
Hi, I'm Mark Blonde. Vote for me.
That may help him with the white voters who are in the Republican primary, you know.
Yeah, that might. You can just. Well, I mean, I do remember this. Actually, this was the funniest thing. Is he was doing the Mino Negro thing actually in Europe. He's like, no, I'm not Cuban. I'm a Spanish descendant. He was doing that in Europe a while back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting. What a character. By character, I mean fuckwad. Jeremy Elwood, thank you so much for the $5. Just finished making dinner, so you're my show during dinner. Better than a Marvel movie, almost. Well, hey. Well, thank you for the compliment or insult, depending on who you ask.
Which Marvel movie?
Yeah, that's true. That's a very big spectrum from dog shit to phenomenal.
Yeah,
we did better than Thor: The Dark World. Hats off, everybody.
Hey, maybe it's a good movie. Maybe it's Captain America 2.
As long as we're not.
That is the best one.
Yeah, what's the one? Is it the second Ant-Man that everybody says is the worst? I didn't even bother watching it.
It's the third one. It's the third one.
It's the third one. Okay. God, I didn't even know there was a third one.
I stopped watching after Endgame. It's like I just said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm walking away. I'm gonna go check out the upcoming video game movie trend.
Yeah, it's I'm still got superhero fatigue. Although the last Spider-Man was pretty good, but we'll see how I feel about. Yeah, we'll see how I feel about the new Avengers movie. I feel like I'm still kind of burnt.
Canada Lake, Che Guevara. Oh, that is.
Looney Tunes, thank you so much for the $5. My prediction is that all the lazy bums won't be back until after Christmas. Lance is an exception, as he is in paternity leave. Call-in show soon. Yes, I've been wanting to do a call-in show for a really long time, but like all the people who want to do a call-in show, namely Ariana, haven't been here for the call-in show, so I'm waiting for them. But sooner or later, we have to do it regardless. So hopefully they'll come to
Ark, Kansas, trying to save democracy or something. So
that's no excuse. And to be an Arkansas, how dare she? No, it feels like everybody has so much shit going on at the same time. Lance,
what was Bender's excuse? He was on Majority Report today.
Oh, he was. He didn't give an excuse. He just said he wasn't going to be here. You know what I should do? I should get into the chat and be like, "Hey, I'll see you tonight, Matt." Rebecca has a legitimate reason to not be here tonight. She's suffering a really horrible family issue, emergency. I'm not going to speak to it, but
I get that.
Yeah, everybody else gets an unexcused absence. Okay.
Where's David's excuse? Where has David been?
Well,
digging a trench in southern Canada expecting the Marines soon, or
Possibly. I mean, I don't know what's going on up there.
Well,
My theory
don't-
with David is that if he has a prolonged absence, that means that he is knee deep in a really good video game. And I totally empathize with that because I would skip Leftist Mafia if I found a game that I really loved.
That's funny you mentioned that. That was my college major.
What was your college major?
Game design and development.
Wow, that's really cool.
I never used it because I wanted to be an indie game developer, but I got burnt out after college. So I just literally crashed out a year. It crashed out a year in a bed. Whole year just doing nothing.
Yeah, college does that to you. Kind of wears you out. But yeah, I'm assuming that relatively soon people will be back. I'm sorry, Kowalski, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. I was going to say, for college, I majored in agribusiness. I am very much burnt out with agriculture, but unfortunately, I literally could not do anything else. So
Yeah, no, I would love nothing more to move to Puerto Rico because I would love just like what, honestly, that is another position they have in the PIP has is they want to facilitate programs to return to diaspora. It's like they want to set up their diaspora branches so that you can actually, so if you're a Puerto Rican who lives in the diaspora, they can connect you with employment. They can help you secure housing, childcare, and they would finance your move up to $10,000.
Oh, interesting. That sounds amazing. Yeah.
I guess that would be one of the issues if you guys did become a state, is it would kind of destroy a lot of that like independent like identity you guys have because like as
it
far
would
as
end
like
it would destroy the best kept secret of Puerto Rico, the Freedom Barrel.
I just mean that like diasporas and stuff, it's I don't feel any type of affiliation to anywhere else but like here in the US and Nebraska because like I mean I guess ethnically speaking I have ties to Germany, Poland, like Britain, so what would my diaspora be?
Like I said, no,
It's
actually
like cultural erasure. We got brought into the system and now we're just
Yeah, no, the diaspora community is great. We have a lot of great arts. Like actually there's this I was actually visiting the diaspora art in El Barrio in Spanish Harlem. It's amazing. Like one of my favorites is this mural of Pedro Albizu Campos and Che Guevara called Dos Alas. I actually posted it in the Blue Sky if you want to pull it up. It's a really great mural if you want.
Let me bring it back. Let's see.
My alarm went off. There's an lunar eclipse right now, folks.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
But you gotta be east of the Rockies.
Unfortunately, that's it's always the catch.
Oh, this is really nice. Wow.
Yeah, there's also
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the poem by the Puerto Rican poet Lola Rodriguez.
Oh, very cool. I love this. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's actually why the flags are mirrors of each other, two wings of the same bird. They receive flowers
that's beautiful.
both in the same part. Oh yeah, she also wrote the original lyrics to the Puerto Rican national anthem, which the U.S. Had sanitized to fondle Christopher Columbus's nutsack.
Oh, well, of course.
Yes. Oh, lovely.
Why am I not surprised by that?
And when Columbus graced your majestic shores, yada yada. It's like, except the real lyrics.
God.
We want freedom, and with our machetes, we'll get it. Hear the roar of the cannon. Doesn't it set your heart alight? It's like the real lyrics are arise, Borinquen, arise. The call is.
Oh my God, I hate that. Fart Twain, thanks for the $5. Am I the only one not excited for GTA 6? It's only getting a 30 FPS mode, no 60 FPS mode. That's verified, and on consoles, it's barely gonna hold that. Here's what I will say. My hype for GTA 6 has definitely died a little bit now that I know that there's no physical, and yes, the 30 FPS, that's kind of brutal for me. But I watched the little preview because thankfully I don't have a Netflix subscription anymore, but somebody uploaded it to YouTube immediately and I watched it. I mean, it looks incredible. I love GTA, so at some point I'll pick it up. I'll probably wait until it's on PC. I mean,
I don't have a console. I thought after the Xbox One, I may get a Switch too, just because I love Nintendo, and that's about it.
Yeah, it just it depends. there's a lot of games coming out. There's also the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remake. But again, I succumb to FOMO sometimes. So if people start talking about it and posting clips, I might want to play it. We'll see. But for now, I'm waiting. I'm trying to hold out for the PC.
Yeah,
because hopefully there'll be a 60 FPS mode on PC. I don't want to play a 30 FPS game that pretty. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be bad. Yeah, no, I was like, by the way,
yeah,
was that fueling mechanic real or not?
You know, they didn't say anything about that in the trailer.
I heard about that. I'm like, that's just like that's like for a resource management game. If you're doing some
it's a little bit too much for me, if I'm being honest. I'm okay with I think it's cool that they're bringing back the San Andreas stuff where, like, if you work out, you'll gain muscle. If you eat shitty food, you'll get fat. I like that, but the fueling the cars.
Yeah, that's a little excessive. It's like there's certain things like that just don't work for the game. It's like there's certain mechanics you just don't put in there.
Yeah. I'll bring up the chat, by the way, because it will cut off less of Kowalski. The people on the bottom always get the shit end of the stick, so I try to mitigate that with the chat.
I know. I remember that when we were talking about when Dominican Republic beat Israel in the WBC, and you were showing the Instagram post from Fox. I can't remember who got.
It was cutting off somebody on the bottom.
Yeah, and you could not see his reaction. And you could tell he was having just a ball laughing at the comments.
Yeah, StreamYard needs to work on that. They're always adding updates, so hopefully they'll fix that so people on the bottom don't get like too much of their stuff cut off. But if you bring up the chat, it kind of like spaces it out a little bit better.
Yeah.
As long as the chat behaves, then it's fine. Usually you're okay. Okay, Jeremy says NPR/MI Public did long segment on Flock tonight. Surprise, surprise. They gave pro-Flock more mic than opposed. Oh, you don't say. Had sheriffs cut opposition short. My God. Well, listen, to combat their bullshit, I'm actually working on a really good Flock video, and I'm going to feature like some Flock hunters. It's going to be really, really good. I probably won't have it ready for like until 2 weeks because I'm working on stuff to take like a week or so off to give myself a little bit of a break. So it's filler content, but I'm working very hard on the filler content, and one of them will be a Flock segment, which is it's a hopium segment. At least I'm trying to frame it that way.
Oh yeah, no, I remember I was reading that this town that they got rid of their flocks, but they had to wait for Flock to personally remove the equipment. So they just wrapped the entire cameras in black trash bags.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Some people have like just been holding signs in front of it. Others have taken other approaches to it.
Yes, some other approaches.
Some very interesting approaches. Dare I say unorthodox approaches. Helmut, thanks for the €5. Why do farmers? Oh, this is a good one for you, Kowalski. Why do farmers still vote Republican after taking existential L's after 2 Trump administrations? Don't get it. Farmers tend to be prudent. Kowalski, what do you say?
So there is no publicly available data on how farmers vote as a group. The only thing you'll ever find are things that are called agricultural counties. So I live in an agricultural county because it's our number one industry. There are 7,000 people in this county, adults that can vote. Only 780 of us are farmers. So we are not capable of swinging an election. We are not capable of doing any of that. There is a very strong Republican base in rural areas, predominantly because Democrats have retreated from advocating for the regions. There's a very, it's very stupid, but
yeah,
it's third way politics. What happened with third way politics? You know, people like to sit here and say it was the Civil Rights Act that lost so many regions for the Democrats. But when you look at it, was really Clinton in the 90s with that third way stuff that literally lost so much ground.
Actually, Clinton is a really good point on this. And Mike, I've told you I'm working on that video to explain why Bill Clinton was the worst president of the last 50 years.
Oh, right. I'm excited for this. For those not aware, he's working on a presidential ranking video, and you might be surprised by the rankings.
Yeah, somehow a Republican won and the Democrat lost, and probably not the Republican you're thinking.
Interesting.
It's obviously not Lincoln.
It's going to be Trump, right?
it's
Trump's
of the
the
last
best.
50 years, so from Jimmy Carter till now. But there's also the historical legacy from the Carter administration. That was the 1970s is far worse than what we're going through now with inflation and how farm structures were back then. 1/3 of all farms went bankrupt in the 1970s. So like that was a catastrophic time. Reagan ended up bailing out the farm industry, which bought Republicans a lot of goodwill. In the Midwest, it was still very competitive between Democrats and Republicans. But the 1990s, with Bill Clinton being in charge as NAFTA was fully implemented, really solidified a lot of hatred from the rural areas to Democrats because Democrats ended up taking a bulk of the blame of what was basically a bipartisan effort. So you also have people like Rush Limbaugh dominated rural areas because of talk radio. There really
Good
wasn't
point.
a counter to that. So you're talking about a time frame of like 30 years where there was never a counter narrative. When you live in a city, there's vibrancy, there's debate, there's diversity of opinion. When you live in a rural area, if there's only one place bringing in outside information, they can kind of write whatever reality is. So it
That's
might
interesting.
change. It's yeah. So
I mean, hopefully it'll change after this, since he directly fucked them over. But we'll see.
Even in 2018, his trade war directly screwed us all over.
That's
with
true.
with the soybeans, and I mean, a lot of
Question is,
farmers.
Yeah.
This is the question: how many times do you get hit on the head before you figure out you don't?
But also, this is also another class issue, though, because farmers are also small business owners, which means tax cuts are appealing to us as a class. It is something, especially when you live in a state like Nebraska that is trying its best to cut all types of social services. You want that independent wealth as much as possible in order to, have some financial security. So there are just a lot of moving parts to it. I like to think I'm a little more in tune with that than the average farmer. So
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Really good insight. Thank you, Kowalski. Chemical Dragon, thanks so much for the $10. We love our wild horses in Montana. Why take it away from our tribal nations? We also love our natural bison herds in the Flathead Valley, where I grew up. All these needs to be protected.
Actually,
yeah, I would love to see that, but I mean, Trump doesn't give a shit.
What about the S&P 500?
Oh no! This reminds me of an incident that actually happened. This made me think of it. Not related, but there was this incident in Puerto Rico last year. I think it was last year, where somebody went on the Puerto Rican travel Reddit. I guess they were tourists. They were probably like in some Airbnb or something, some short-term rental thing, and they were asking how to kill the coqui frog because it was bothering them, the national animal of Puerto Rico, and they were asking on the Puerto Rican travel Reddit how to exterminate it.
Damn.
It was like, it's like because like Puerto Ricans love the coqui. I've been like procrastinating for years to get the Taino symbol of the coqui frog, which I'll actually just pull up again because it's a beautiful symbol. Oh, let me just pull this up. Hold on, let me just.
I could try to find it too. Can you spell it for me?
It's a C. It's a COQUI. Yeah, it's a. It's the coqui. It's the Taino had a symbol for it.
Oh, okay. I see the frog. I don't see the symbol. Let me see.
Yeah, just type in symbol.
Oh, symbol.
Yeah. It actually makes a chirping sound, that's where it gets its name from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's really cool.
That's they're all, you can find those symbols scattered all across Puerto Rico.
It kind of looks like a heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been meaning to get that tattooed. It's a tribute to it's a tribute to my grandmother who passed in 23.
Oh, I love that. That's
yeah, no, yeah. 3 things she loved: Mets, Celia Cruz, and the coqui.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, yeah, thinking about that. I also look at this horses thing. Vieques has a lot of horses, so I always think of that. That's like the island known for. It's the funniest thing in Puerto Rico. You could actually like literally I saw these pictures of people literally going into drive-throughs with horses.
Oh, that'd be awesome. This one's for you, VMann. Tigwick sent $100 super chat. Happy birthday, VMann. Mike, you better give him some of this. Happy birthday again. Yeah, VMann, send me. You have my email now, so send me your Cash App or PayPal, and I'll share the wealth, courtesy of Tigwick.
All right, sure. Sure. I'll send you my PayPal information.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Tigwick. Very generous of you to send him a birthday donation. Jeremy.
I'm just reading this chat. Says, for advice for tourists with coquille problems in Puerto Rico, leave the frogs alone and ship your ass back. Because the sound they make is literally their name. It's like
and people don't like that? I don't understand. Isn't that pretty?
You can actually just pull it up on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find. That people can. So for people who don't know,
I mean, I'm sure it sounds lovely. I'll pull it up, but like, I don't understand why people want to fuck with the frogs. I don't get it. Okay, yeah, Koki, call it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. People need to leave the wildlife alone.
There you go.
Okay, let me see. Let's pull up the first one. I mean, what's to hate about that? That's beautiful.
It's literally just saying it. Yeah.
Fucking people, man. Leave the Koki alone.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Jeremy says comes in threes, Parton Curry. We got one more 80-year-old. Well, there was another one that died today too, that VMann said.
Peter Cullen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh, right. Okay, I couldn't remember his name. I saw that, but I forgot. I'm like, wait, who's? Damn. Octawolf says, are these recent deaths sign that Trump is next? No, because these are all good people, and Trump is a demon, and demons live very long. So
I know. Like, look how long we had to wait for the for like what's
Kissinger was like 100.
Kissinger. Yeah. No. And it's like, yeah, no, I know. I remember because I'm also a Yankees fan, and I had to sit there and watch them give him a tribute.
Ew, you had to watch that? Oh my god. I didn't know they even did that. That's terrible.
That's even worse than their play on the field. Is like that's even worse than watching them play on the field. Like it's half the time they implode. Yeah, no, that's like it's like Kissinger. Well, who else? Who else we had to wait forever to get rid of Dick Cheney?
Right. Ugh. Yeah.
I can tell you, Puerto Rican Satan died in 2020. His name is Carlos Romero Barcelo. They call him. Basically, he orchestrated the Puerto Rican Watergate.
Well, rest in piss, sir.
Yeah. So what he did is basically he basically organized and allegedly because he never found guilty, but basically in the 1970s, two Puerto Rican activists, protest activists, went to a tower to broadcast messages protesting the political persecution of political prisoners. What they didn't know was that they were being tricked, that it was all a setup for a police ambush. And so they get there into the mountains, Cerro Maravilla. They get shot. The governor portrays it as, a heroic stand of Puerto Rican police against vicious terrorists. Of course, eventually, the cracks form in the story. And, eventually the opposition party wins the controlled legislative assembly, the Popular Democratic Party. And so what they do is they hold a commission and a hearing. They find out none of what they said was true. The reality of it is these two men surrendered immediately, were beaten, and were executed in the back of the head. And they covered this all up. And the Puerto Rican
That's so much more scandalous than Watergate. Damn.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. And somehow this guy got after he served as governor, he got elected to resident commissioner. Yeah, no.
And he died in 2020, you said?
Yeah, but
He's
I will say
probably
that
old. Somebody said Strom Thurmond died when he was 100. That's fucking crazy.
yeah, no, actually, I do have a video of him actually because he admitted the quiet part out loud. You know, I think, do I have a video of him in here? No, actually, I don't have a video. But what he admitted is the truth of the Puerto Rican statehood movement in an interview before he died, where he said they sold out the leadership sold out the movement to wealthy elites, and he says it the quiet part out loud. He says sold out to statehood. It's like Fortunio abrió la puerta al enemigo de la eternidad, and he says Fortunio opened the doors to the enemies of statehood. The governor in 2012.
They always admit that shit in their deathbed, though.
Oh yeah,
Republicans
said,
too.
Yeah, no, he said the quiet part. Like he says, oh, you know, this Act 20, because the problem with the Act 60 class thing is it only works if Puerto Rico remains a territory. It only works because it relies on Section 933 of the tax code, which exempts territorial residents from paying federal income tax unless you work a government job. So it relies on that tax. It relies on 933 to work. So the moment you become a state, 933 goes away. So why is this political? So you just created this class of tax exiles, Brock Pierce, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all sorts of guys. Why on God's green earth would they want those tax incentives to go away?
Right.
They don't. So what are they going to do? They're going to use their capital to influence elections. In fact, over $1 million has been over $1 million has been spent by the Act 60 class since 2012, I think it was, since it's gone into effect. I mean, because Puerto Rican elections are dirt cheap because, you know, it's already broke there to begin with. But yeah, they do that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Octopath. I didn't read this one right. No, I didn't read this one. I'm a self-taught in game development and design. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I gotta practice.
That's cool. That's very cool, though. That's very cool.
Somebody mentioned. Somebody mentioned Fred Hampton in the chat.
Spec says it's hilarious to see the GTA 6 reactions because dumb. I haven't seen the discourse or any of the reactions. I just watched it myself before coming on, so I don't know what people are saying. Are they saying it's woke or something? I don't even fucking know. I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna have my own opinion. I don't even care. I'm tired of reacting to reactions and seeing reactions. I've got fatigue on hearing people's opinions about pop culture. That's just insufferable. TVXQ, thanks for the 5. Did you know that Natalie Harp's brother is a leftist who lives in Nicaragua and supports the Sandinista? What? Supports the Sandinista government? Name is Preston Robert Harp. That's fucking crazy. Now I'm curious about like their family. Like, they went in polar opposite directions. I did not know this. That's a really interesting fact.
Yeah, no, that I heard. I knew he was left leaning, but I didn't know that much. I'm like, I just want to imagine it's just like it's like Ned Flanders' family, and she's just a black sheep. It's like Ned Flanders' grandparents are like fucking like hippies, and then she's just a black sheep.
I mean, that's quite polar opposite like political ideologies. So that's fucking interesting. I did not know. I didn't even know she had a brother. I didn't know this lady existed until like a week ago. And now I can't not hear about her. I hate it. I don't want to know who this lady is. I don't want to know that she's fucking Trump, probably. Chris Corcoran, 100% convinced now that Dems will collab with Ethan Klein.
They will, and it will prolong this hell we're in, and millions will die.
Of course they will.
And it will be all Ethan Klein's fault.
Of course they will, and then history will
like a Teddy Fresh collab, like with the Dems, like a hoodie, or just like they're gonna go on the podcast. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them because they do want to talk to influencers. They want a Joe Rogan on the left, but just one that they can control. You know, a la Chorus, someone like Olivia Juliana. So I think they would maybe
to hell with it.
Ethan.
They're just gonna put Ethan Klein on the ticket in 2028. No primary. It's just him and his terrible centrist ideas.
Oh God.
You know what? That I think he would align with them. I think that it's a fit, at least for the Hakeem Jeffries wing of the party. You know, they
just
centrism
like,
is a motherfucker.
No, it's like it's like centrism, just it's like the birth. Centrism is the birthplace of fascism.
Jeremy Elwood says farmers take an L since Reagan, who destroyed dairy. Well, Kowalski's not taking L's; it's just
Not
dubs.
necessarily Reagan. That is just capitalism. That there were a lot of long-standing trends that led to that.
No, I wish I always wish that like Reagan and fucking Margaret Thatcher. It's like the two of the 80s. Like I wish Americans had the vitriolic hatred of Reagan that the Brits have of Thatcher.
Yeah, that is interesting, right? Americans love Reagan, including a lot of Democratic normies, which is really bizarre to me. At least the Democratic
with
normies.
two different things that occurred. Reagan was lucky; he was president during the 1980s upswing for the U.S. economy, and Britain was suffering the demise of their empire. So the 80s was a completely different mindset for them.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Reagan, the more you look into it, he's not a unique guy. He was kind of more or less just the figure for the force of capital at the time. If not Reagan, it would have been another Republican.
I'm just saying. I also want to say this. Also, Thatcher also had the Troubles, so let's not forget that.
Okay.
She had a lot of Irish who hated her.
Good points. It makes me feel like it's not just stupidity from Americans. There's actual
As somewhat of a quasi Liverpool fan, I love the Maggie's in the Mud chant they all started singing when they were supposed to be silent for remembering her on her death. The entire crowd was just like, na 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 na, Maggie's in the mud, in the mud. We don't do that. We don't.
They did the same thing with the Queen too.
Yes,
I know,
Lizzie's
right?
in the mud.
Lizzie's in a box. God, the Brits, we need their energy. I agree with you.
No. It's like you were making me think of something because I forgot to mention. I mentioned the Freedom Barrel. I forgot to tell you what it was. So, Puerto Rico's oldest rum distillery was actually founded by National. Was actually owned by a family that leaned in towards nationalism. They were pro-independence. So the second master blender put aside a barrel of rum in 1952 when the Commonwealth was established, and wrote in his will that the barrel would not be opened until the island achieved independence. And when it does, it's supposed to be taken to the town plaza, and everyone gets to drink free rum for independence.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no, there's a lot.
Like I said, like you always drop these little tidbits that are so interesting that like most people wouldn't know. You're like Puerto Rican Kowalski. Like you all just have like this wealth of knowledge in your head. It's very interesting.
That's not the only thing that's going to happen.
Has car hedge. We built Stonehenge out of cars.
Yeah, no, that's not the only thing that's going to happen. There's one Puerto Rican independence advocate. His name's Eugenio Maria de Hostos, and he was a big advocate for education, women's rights, and he's currently buried in the Dominican Republic under explicit instructions that his body is not to be returned to Puerto Rico till it's independent. Because he was just that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because he actually met with McKinley to try to convince him to let Puerto Rico go free. And of course, he obviously said, go fuck yourself. Because of course he did. Yeah, but no, that's another one. That's another fun fact. Yeah, there's a lot
Interesting. VMann, you do have to promise me you're going to start a YouTube channel. I think people would be interested in learning about this stuff.
Oh yeah, I actually have actually on that chat, you can actually see the picture of Pedro Albizu Campos, like the effects of the radiation torture on his body. I think I have that in the. It's really this. Really.
I'm not going to put that up just because it might not be a good thing to show.
No.
YouTube, but yeah, if people want to see it, check the thread on Blue Sky.
Yeah, I'll post the thread so you can actually see some of this information in there. I'll post it. Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, but no.
One last super chat, and then we are out of here. Jeremy Elwood says, if we're recalling all vegetables, which seems to be the case, any update on Mitch McConnell?
I talked to him for about 20 minutes yesterday. He's all right. He's recovering.
No,
he's doing okay.
That's
good.
I had a conversation with him about a week ago. He seemed cheery to me. He's ready to get back to work for Kentuckians at any time. It's just,
Well,
No,
I
I'm kidding.
too had a convo.
What did he say to you?
He said he was dying.
Don't worry. I'm pretty sure his spirit is slowly being absorbed by Fetterman. So,
yeah, there's some sort of transfer going on with his soul. One more came in here. Red Fire Blue Ice. We need to flip the script on media and Dems for their BS. I'm trying, man. It's hard. They've got a lot of institutional
they
power.
have the entire mainstream media doing this anti-Hassan move, and it is insane how
it's a lot.
It somehow
It's
is actually
media.
working, just pounding that same message over and over.
Repetition, man. It really is effective in politics.
Yeah, no.
It really is.
Oh,
well, look at who showed up as we're done with super
hell?
chats.
Oh, what? Wait, hold on. What? I thought we were just getting started.
We were literally about to get out of here. Are you, motherfucker? Are you going to extend the show another hour? I swear to God, Matt.
I thought we were just getting started. I thought we decided. I thought we were agreed on an 11:30 start time tonight. What's going on?
VMann, from the top, explain all of Puerto Rican history to Bender quick.
All right. Just give us a quick rundown. 30 seconds. Okay. You can do it.
All right, let's go. Let's go. U.S. invades Puerto Rico in 1898. Destroys
faster. You got
it. So, U.S. disassembles the Union Party through citizenship. Federal Music Campos organizes labor strikes. La Junta.
Kowalski, quick, aggro.
There is no water left under Arizona. The state will be destroyed. You need to get out while you can. Head to Boise.
We're all dying. Climate change is killing us all. That was basically the show, man.
Yeah.
There is one joke I want to get done because this has always made me laugh. Is people always make the joke about Trump. People always make the joke about Trump speaking to the president of Puerto Rico. But here's the funny thing. That's a real person. His name is Francisco Ramirez Medina. And
it's not Gonzalez?
No. His name is Francisco Ramirez Medina, and during the revolt, El Grito de Lares in September 23rd, 1868, he was named president for 48 hours. No one knows what happened to him after those.
I didn't. That's cool.
Yeah, his one and only act is.
It was like a Make-A-Wish president.
Yeah, no. His two acts as president were to establish a cabinet and abolish slavery.
Okay. You know what? I'd vote for that. Oh, by the way, Looney Tunes just sent the chat. Your excuse, Matt, for not showing up. Explain yourself, sir.
It was a last-minute punk show my wife wanted to go to, so sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
Fair.
The audacity, enjoying life. How dare you?
Well,
you know me. I try to make it to every show. It's very rare I miss one.
Well, you know what? Don't worry. I'm a punk rock fan too.
I'm sorry. This is the show I missed. But I gotta say, couldn't have worked out any better with you getting two guests on for today. It's almost like you knew. It's almost like you knew the rest of the Leftist Mafia was gonna let you down.
Well, and I'm probably gonna be gone the next 2 weeks. I'm working on some shit to take some time off. So you all will have to find some amazing guests. Good luck finding guests that'll compete with VMann and Kowalski. This was a great show.
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up getting Z-Man and whatever the C-list version of Kowalski is.
If I turn on the stream and I see him with Jimmy Dore and fucking one of these, I'm gonna be like, see, I told you. Couldn't find anybody.
Triangle.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anybody else, but Triangle would have been a great.
Yeah, coming here live from Leftist Mafia. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We got Jimmy Dore and Illuminati. And then special guests.
Oh, yeah, they would be phenomenal guests. Yeah.
Kasparian.
And that's not all. We got Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, Graham Plattner, and a load of other great guests.
Watch, next week it's just going to be Matt Bender, and somehow he's going to pull Hassan. And everybody else is going to be gone for it, and everyone's going to be like, how did he pull this off?
Yep.
No one knows.
Yep. Looney Tunes says you could pull him as a guest.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
And by the way, on that note, seriously, we do want to do a call-in show. We're not like specifically like avoiding it. As I said earlier, because Matt wants to do one too. We're waiting for like Ariana to get here and stuff, but we need to plan it. We can't just drop it on you all and be like, "Hey, we're doing a call-in show impromptu," because it's not really fair. Because people who want to call in, they need to know in advance so they can make it. So we need to do it proper. But we're as you could tell, we're not very good at planning and not very good at attendance, so it's on our hearts. Okay, that's what I can promise you. It's on our hearts. We're thinking about. I genuinely want to do it.
The idea
We're gonna
is
do it.
We just need to master the art of execution.
That's precisely it. And look, at some point in time, if we keep bringing on like viewers as guests, just like proper guests, then within like a few years, we'll have done a call-in show overall. So. We just convert the audience into panelists, and then it's just the perpetual call-in show. So that do that too.
I mean, I was doing before I stopped doing. I gotta start doing my stream again, but my stream went from doing weekly guests to eventually I was just doing call-in shows every week because honestly, I was having so much fun doing it.
I genuinely enjoy the call-in shows a lot. It's really nice to hear from people.
On so much WWE knowledge without your show, Matt. It is.
Yeah, I just got. It was just I just got burnt out. I took a nice break from doing it, and now I'm ready to get back into it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like once you take a break, then it's hard to come back, though, even though you feel the inclination. I was doing Twitch streams every week, and it's been a couple of years, and I no longer feel the inclination to go back to Twitch. But I was doing it a lot, and when I left, I was like, man, I need to get back to doing that. And now I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just streaming Leftist Mafia on Twitch. I think that's good enough. So
yeah, that's what I. But then you start to get the itch again. There's a new Fortnite season. I gotta stream that. I gotta get into game streaming.
That's what all the kids are talking about Fortnite today. That's the number one video game they're focused on.
Sure. No, it was very funny.
Mike's Twitch.
I would love to stream. I would love to stream GTA 6, but Rockstar Games ain't gonna release the PC version of GTA for like another year, probably.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, I could.
It's like the filthy console peasants have to be given their time.
Motherfucking console
I mean, there's
peasants.
a way. There's a way to stream from your console. I mean, you could obviously just stream gameplay footage really easily from your console. But if you want to do the webcam with the console, you need a video capture device. It's a whole annoying process. Yeah.
Too much hassle.
You just put it on the TV in the living room, put the camera behind you over your shoulder, and point. It's
you
not
could do
hard.
That. Boomer that bitch.
Yeah, but then no one's gonna. I don't think anyone's ever gotten big doing that.
That honestly, you know what? That would be so fucking hilarious. I would watch that. I'd be like, you know what? Bless this person's heart for just pointing the camera at the TV. That's actually really impressive. I would watch that unironically. I'm not even joking. That would just be funny and wholesome.
There's a site that I have used that might be out of China where they essentially do that with some like HBO streaming stuff.
Oh, really?
Funny.
You usually get that like, you get like a good, not that I would ever pirate, but I've heard stories that you download these movies and it's just somebody like pointing a camera at the theater screen, filming the entire thing on their phone.
Oh, my favorite.
There's people laughing and stuff.
My favorite story is there's a guy who used to stream. He used to live stream UFC pay-per-views, and he would put himself imposed over in the corner, like a green screen footage of him in the corner, holding a remote control, pretending he's playing a game. So Twitch thought he was playing an MMA fighting game, but he was just pirating the UFC pay-per-view streams for everybody tuning in. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's brilliant.
That's hilarious.
His streams would. I mean, eventually,
I feel like the automatic detectors would have picked up on that or something.
I mean, this was a couple of years. This was a couple of years ago, so maybe now you couldn't get away with it. But this guy would basically stream UFC pay-per-views with him, webcam footage in the corner of him live holding a game controller, pretending to play a game, so it looked like. To, I guess, at the time, whatever was detecting this stuff thought he was just live streaming gameplay footage of him playing a
That's
fighting game.
devious, but
Yeah.
based. I really like that. I appreciate that. That's a man of the people.
Probably can't
there.
get away with it anymore, but it was funny when it was happening.
You could never get away with that if it was a Nintendo game. They will break down your door and fuck you up. Like they will physically beat you if you try to stream one of their things illegally. It's crazy. Unless you're Twitter or the U.S. government, then you can steal their assets, and then they're fine with that.
Yeah, no. If you're filthy peasant, they will send the bullet bills after you.
Yeah, yeah. What do they call them? Like the Nintendo ninjas. They'll be breaking down your door. It's why it's crazy. You'll see people that'll like try to release some ROM of Mario 64 that they like altered and added more characters, and it's like, you don't have to do this. Like, it's really cool. The work that you put into this is amazing, but they're going to fucking kill you. It's not worth your life. Don't do this. They're gonna destroy you.
This is a company that was started it was still started when Japan practiced the era of Bushido. So let's look at the.
So you brought it up, Mike. What do you think of what did you think of the GTA stuff that came out today?
I mean, it looks cool. It's GTA. I've been a huge fan of GTA. I think GTA 5 is like one of my top 5 favorite games of all time.
Oh yeah, no, I bought it 3 times.
It's great. Yeah, we've all purchased it multiple times. I got it on console, bought it on PC when it came out on PC. It's a great game. I know this one's going to be great, but I really, really want the PC version. I want 60 FPS, hopefully, on PC, and I just don't want to buy any digital on console. I just feel like that's all my shit's on PC. I love Red Dead Redemption. Yeah,
okay.
Arthur Morgan is a king.
I gotta play that.
It seems like a lot of the. At least the NPC interactive stuff is taken straight from Red Dead Redemption 2, from what I was seeing.
Yeah, apparently the NPCs are really much more complex and diverse and unique. Like, you know, in the other GTA games, you run into the same NPC multiple times, but now they're supposed to be a lot more realistic. I guess the car physics are supposed to be especially realistic, but there's like, they have experts to do like the handling for each car model to make sure it's accurate. I mean, it's going to be really fucking fun. So, I mean, it's
NPC
GTA.
stuff is really realistic. They're walking around talking about how they don't get the COVID vaccine and they don't.
Well, because Florida.
Trump won the 2020 election. No men and women's sports. They got the NPCs in there walking around saying.
And you could, and it's a video game, so you can punch them right in the face, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's fun. And we're gonna see the Cubans be like, "I vote for Donald Trump."
I'm just picturing right now the
I will just
street.
say this, of Miami Cubans, unless your last name is Prio, you're probably a Republican.
Mike, as soon as it's available on PC, it'll just be the sweet release of you hearing those NPCs and doing donuts in a car on a bunch of pedestrians.
You know what I can't wait for is the soundtrack. I can't wait for that because I want to see it. I want to see what music they get in there.
The music from the preview was really good. I will say that.
I want to see what the radio stations are because I wanted that because those Latin stations are going to be bopping. I can tell you that much. As Latino listens, like I can tell you, I've listened to a lot of salsa, reggaeton, Latin trap, merengue. The sounds can be just. It's like you got a taste of it in GTA 4 with the Radio San Juan. It's like just imagine what they're gonna do when they just know it's like you got all that Cuban population down there.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I always discover a lot of great songs on the GTA soundtracks. Songs that I've never heard before, songs that I have heard but love. It's just they do a really good job at curating it and playing the right song. Like also the score from the preview was really, really good. It just, I mean, it's GTA, right? That would be
you reminded me of that song before, VMann, of it'd be great if you're spinning turning the dial on the radio and all of a sudden I will vote for Donald Trump.
That's a banger. It's a classic now. GTA Bayphoto says GTA 6 is actually borrowing a lot of mechanics from Red Dead Redemption 2, like Deadeye. I saw that. Better NPC interactions, eating food, affecting health, etc. Yeah, I think that'll be really cool. I want I want to be able to have a big Chungus character that doesn't work out and eat shitty food. I think that's so fun.
Oh, I remember that from GTA 4 GTA San Andreas when you ate and then like it would change CJ's interactions.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool to see like a modern spin on that.
Yeah, no, it's like I remember like he'd beat you up, he'd take them, it's like, this is my lunch money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, I'll get it at some point. I'll definitely play
There's
it
a
at some
social
point.
media aspect in it too. Apparently, there's a in-game social media like
you can doom scroll, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
and there's like social media challenges or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, you can doom scroll after crashing your car into like the.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could.
No,
I wonder if you could do.
good.
I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could do Gamergate and harass women and do it, claim it on social media while claiming it's for ethics and gaming journalism.
I mean, if they're going for realism, they would have to include that, right?
Of course.
That would be pretty. That'd be pretty inside humor. Putting that in a video game.
Yeah. Yeah. They did do an interview with IGN and commented about the satire, and they said that they're very careful with what they select because they want it to feel timeless, and certain memes and certain political phenomena can age pretty quickly and become irrelevant. So they're really trying to choose carefully what they are satirizing. But they always strike a relatively good balance. I think there's always some fun conservative dunking. So I'm excited to see what they do with Florida, because it's if
Florida,
if the same writers are there, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
I really do like how at GTA 5 the main antagonist ended up basically being like a hedge fund billionaire guy. He was the main antagonist in the end. And for 2013, I think they were a little ahead of the times on how much we would just hate these people.
Yeah. They're on it.
Yeah.
Oh, funny you mentioned that. I actually met the voice actor for Michael at my fucking local Wendy's.
Did you? At your Wendy's? What?
Yeah, like literally a week after the game came out, he was literally there eating. Here, look. I don't know if you can see that.
Kinda, but that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet he's not eating at Wendy's anymore. He probably is. I was gonna say he's rich, but
yeah, no. Hold. Let me see. You know what? I could just pause it so you can just pull up so people can see this shit.
you can kind of see it. But that's cool though.
Yeah, no, yeah. He was literally there with his kids, and I fumbled his line from the game. Like afterwards. Like we get 1,000 things every day. Make sure this is.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, no.
You know what's funny is after GTA 5 came out, I swear to God, I saw like 1,000 different men that looked like Trevor. Like everywhere I saw his face. Like, I don't know if it was just like, to me, hey, it's a balding guy, that's Trevor. But I swear to God, like a month or so after, I remember seeing a guy at the store and I'm like, that dead ass could be Trevor. Like that could be the actor. It's I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna bounce. That is basically our show. I think this
was a good one.
Show.
I'm glad I jumped on.
Last minute.
You should rewind it and watch it back.
I'm going to check it out actually. And
it was really good.
You have to watch the Spanish attack ad. That shit was.
That's a very good. Yeah, a Red Scare attack ad in Spanish. You don't have to speak Spanish to understand how amazing it is. So, yeah, I'd highly encourage people to watch that. But yeah, the whole show was great. So definitely rewind it, Matt, and watch it. I'm gonna hold you to that. Next week I'll quiz you. Well, I won't be here next week, but I'm gonna quiz you when I come back and ask you about specifics.
Hey, sounds good to me.
All right.
I better get going. My babies are probably getting crazy because they haven't been walked yet.
All right. Well, you all take care. It's been so nice. Again, thank you so much.
Who should we raid?
I don't think I have much viewers, so I'm just gonna not raid anybody. I have
hold on. I'm gonna raid someone really quick. Let's see. I'm gonna raid Amy EC3 really quick.
Okay. I don't even have Twitch pulled up, so I'll just not worry about it. I usually don't have too many.
I jump on for 20 minutes and I got my whole system ready to go. And you were here for how many hours? And you didn't even have Twitch open? Unbelievable.
I closed all my windows. The show is over, Matt.
All right.
We finished.
Well, it was a pleasure to see
like
you guys.
20
I'm so
minutes,
glad
Matt.
I'm so glad I caught the tail end.
It's like Matt is the person who, when we're about to get out of class and the teacher's like, okay, well, we could go unless there's anybody that has questions. Matt's the person that raises his hand and extends class. You just did that to us, Matt. We were about to get out of here, and you just did that.
Opposite of an Irish goodbye.
Yeah, my dog, my dog's lines, Lucy, are severely disappointed.
Yeah. All right, you all take care. It was so nice meeting VMann, and thank you, Kowalski, for coming on. Matt, nice seeing you. I will see you in a couple of weeks when I'm back. I'll take my hiatus next, and yeah, I'll be back in a few weeks. So take care, everybody.
All right, peace.
Bye.